we're finally starting chapter 12, Immolation. I'm so behind. But we have Marius, and it's gonna be such a nice break from the craziness. That was the VIN card, I think. All right, let's go. Late at night, the fire truck passes by rows of residential houses with sirens blaring, casting a red glow over the only window that remains lit. Having just hung up the phone, the young police officer sitting by the window turns to look at the door as someone suddenly knocks.
문 열려 있습니다. 그냥 들어오시면 돼요.
The door is open, you can just come in. Perhaps whoever's behind the door doesn't hear the invitation because they keep persistently knocking.
예, 갑니다. 잠시만요.
Yeah, I'm coming. Wait a moment.
신고 좀 하려고요.
I'm here to report something. As if sensing that someone is approaching the door, the person on the other side suddenly stops knocking. Seemingly smelling something foul from the other side of the door, the policeman crinkles his brow before reaching out for the door handle.
구시가지 쪽에 터진 일로 오셨죠? 알고 있어요. 오늘 많이들
Oh, I know. On Old Street, there's been a commotion. You're not the only one.
그 일이랑은 상관없어요.
It's not related to that. I'm here for myself. As the policeman turns the door handle, the window behind him once again floods with red light. The posters on the walls of the police office seem to all briefly come to life under the bright flare of the lights outside. Most of these posters depict people, criminals, upstanding citizens, missing persons. All of them seem to fix their eyes on the door as it slowly opens. That's creepy. As even the dim corridor behind the door is soaked in a sanguine sheen, the police officer's eyes suddenly go wide. He suddenly remembered what this case is. Oh god, oh no! They're setting us up for something. I'm a little bit anxious. But you love this NPC. Which NPC? I like the voice acting for the police officer. Rosa shuffles her way along the edge of the crowd and squeezes herself into her usual corner at the evening rush hour subway, then relaxes slightly. With how close she is squeezed against the other passengers, she can glimpse the flickering images on their phone screens even if she has no desire to look. Letta Gray's case remains a hot topic and continues to occupy headlines on various news websites and apps. Someone is even playing a video related to the case out loud in the carriage, and Rosa hears indistinct noises as the blurred footage plays. She pulls her gaze away when she notices her phone vibrating in her bag. Marius's name shows as a sender as her phone screen lights up. He has sent her some pictures. Yet before she can figure out what those blurry pictures are meant to be, he sends multiple messages again, pushing the pictures up and off the screen. Sorry, Nuna, please save these pictures in your phone for me. Huh? I'm with the police. They might check my phone later, and I don't want these to get deleted. Huh? Do you need me to head over? Where are you? Rosa types these messages out almost without thinking. Her phone falls silent. She prepares to get off at the next stop if necessary and looks up periodically at the monitor in the subway carriage. The moment the carriage doors open, her phone vibrates once again. Marius has sent over a location all too familiar to her. It's within 3 kilometers of Letta Gray's house. It's his nudes. Oh my god. Marius gets into shit as usual. Yep. Rosa looks back at the evening sky instinctively when she arrives at the police office Marius is located in. However, given the dark night sky, she struggles to locate the direction of Gray's house. The entire sky is covered by a thick fog, rendering even the stars invisible.
在找谁呢？我可不在天上。
What are you looking for? I'm not in the sky, you know.
总算等到了，我就知道只要我求助，你一定会过来。
You're finally here. I knew you'd come over if I asked for your help. Marius's tone is casual and relaxed, yet he is currently surrounded by police officers. He waves at her behind the officers' curious and cautious gazes. Marius, what's happening? Why are you... While she was on her way, she thoroughly studied the images he asked her to save. She is fairly certain that he was taking pictures of Letta Gray's house. Or it might be more accurate to say what used to be Gray's house. The entire mansion was swallowed up in flames, and there's probably nothing left of it. Marius doesn't answer her, but instead looks at the police officer next to him.
我可以说吗？
Can I tell her?
他是我的律师，有权知道我过去几小时的行踪。
She's my lawyer. She has a right to know where I've been the past few hours. Oh God. Does she know that she was coming here to represent him? Once again reminding everyone that Vincent works too hard. Indeed. He said, I knew if I begged you'd come.
3분 드리죠.
I'll give you 3 minutes. Rosa follows Marius to the water dispenser in the station after receiving those strict instructions. Looking as if he simply wants to make her feel more settled after her commute, Marius gets a cup of water for her. However, the moment she takes the disposable cup from him, he speaks to her in a low voice.
葛蕾蕾家被烧了，
Gray's home was burnt down.
警方把我带过来，只是因为事发时我在附近逗留。询问完情况后就会放人，不用太担心。
The police took me in because I was loitering around when the fire started. They'll let me go once they've questioned me about the reason I was there. Don't worry about it. But why were you
虽然
there?
杀害葛蕾蕾的凶手被抓，但他家还是有人下落不明，不是吗？
They caught Gray's murderer, but there are still people missing in her family, right?
所以我就想回去看看情况，没想到撞上了更大的意外。
So I wanted to go back and check out the situation. Who would have known that I'd run into an even bigger incident?
如果不是人为纵火，应该不会烧到那种程度。
The fire wouldn't have been so intense if it wasn't deliberate arson. Deliberate arson? Surely it wasn't Mavis Sutcliffe. This name almost immediately comes to the forefront of her brain. That woman hasn't shown herself since she kidnapped Hugo Gray and Angela Diggs on someone's orders. Perhaps she managed to escape, or perhaps she returned to the person pulling the strings. If someone could order her to kidnap people, then it's possible she could be ordered to commit arson too.
也许吧。
Maybe.
和葛蕾蕾有关的人，不是已经死亡，就是被抓。现在只剩下苏海燕这一个不确定因素了。
Everyone related to Letta Gray is either dead or being detained. Sutcliffe is the only uncertain variable left.
虽然我很想现在就去找她，不过
I do want to look for her right away, but... He sure didn't warn her, right? Marius glances at the police officers standing nearby who are looking at a timer. Right on cue, Rosa notices or hears the sound of knocking on the door, seemingly notifying Marius that time's up for this brief meeting. You go ahead. I'll wait for you. If something does happen, you've still got your legal counsel here. Despite her own words, she still feels unsettled as she watches Marius and the officers walk away. Moreover, the moment the officers open the door, another unexpected guest reveals himself outside. Artem came running! Do you hear him breathing? Bro, you okay? Artem, you're here as well? Artem casts his eyes around the room, only briefly glancing over both of their surprised faces. He says something very rapidly to the officer first, then nods at Marius before walking quickly towards her. Or them.
유시류 씨의 상황은 이미 확인했어요. 절차에 따라 경찰 조사에 협조하는 것뿐이니까 너무 걱정 마요.
Okay. I've already confirmed Marius' situation. It's just a routine inspection to assist with the police investigation. You don't need to worry too much about it.
여기서 조금 더 기다리고 싶다면 상관은 없지만 솔직히 말하자면
If you'd like to wait a little while longer, it doesn't really matter. But, in all honesty,
저랑 같이 한 실종자의 신분을 확인해라 가줬으면 좋겠어요.
I hope you'll come with me to confirm the identity of another missing person.
应该不是苏海燕吧？
It's not Mavis Sutcliffe, right? Rosa quickly turns to see Marius stopping next to the door with his back to her. He seems to have spoken up solely out of curiosity.
서혜연이 아니라
It's not her.
우태양이에요.
Gerard Boone. Woo Tae-hyun. Okay. Dude, Artem is up to something here. Gerard Boone? Gerard Boone is the primary person involved in a disappearance case Rosa and Artem handled a while ago. He has been missing for a year after escaping from the Stella's 3rd juvenile correctional facility with the help of a mysterious person. Yeah, I remember him. He was the child that was being kind of abused, right? Though his disappearance consequently exposed Tyson Turner's true murderer and the black market medication case, he's still someone shrouded in mystery.
저도 방금 들은 정보예요. 우태양은 멀리 떠난 게 아니라 계속 미림시에 있었어요.
I just got the news myself. He hasn't gone far. He's been in Stella's all this time.
강혁 씨가 이미 우태양이 있는 경찰서로 갔으니 우리도 서둘러야 해요.
Sorry, I almost said Kang Hyung-sik or Kang Hyung-shi. Sorry, Luke. Luke is already headed to the police station. We need to hurry up too. Just how did you guys find him? What did he? Artem is walking so fast that she has to break into a light jog to catch up. A person who has been missing for more than a year could be anywhere. No one would even be sure whether such a person could still be alive. However, the youth who is the unknowing connection between all these incidents has actually been close by all this time. Artem's expression softens a little when he hears her string of questions, and his voice takes on a soothing hint when he speaks.
우리가 우태양을 찾았다고 하기보단 우태양이 우리를 찾아왔다고 하는 게 더 정확하겠네요.
Rather than to say that we found Gerard Boone, it's more accurate to say he found us.
경찰이 알려준 정보에 따르면 몇 시간 전 우태양이 경찰서로 직접 찾아와 당직 순경에게 신분을 밝혔대요.
Based on what the police have told me, he walked into a station a few hours ago and reported himself to the authority.
우태양이 왜 갑자기 모습을 드러낸 건지 궁금할 거예요. 하지만 지금은 해명보단 직접 확인하는 게 좋을 것 같아요.
I know that you're curious as to why he suddenly appeared, but no amount of explanation can compare to seeing him with our own eyes. Gerard is your new favorite NPC. He is so well written. Okay, yay, I'm excited. I like when these stories, I love that there's such a world to these stories, and some of the NPCs that we meet have been like very, very like fascinating in their own right? So I'm glad that Gerard is one of them. I think I did like Gerard from before because, he's just a child, right? So you put soy sauce on the chicken? Good.
그럼 일단 가죠.
So let's go see him first.
경찰서에 도착하면 당신의 궁금증을 어느 정도 해결할 수 있을 거예요.
Many of your questions will already be answered when we get there. The night wind swoops into her blouse collar the moment he pulls open the door. She follows Artem and dives into the car, leaving the starless night behind. The title does not look good though, right? Like Immolation. Oh my. Okay, we've already done this stuff, so. Huh? Rosa turns around beneath the blanket, and the glaring white light instantly floods into her eyes through a gap in the fabric. Did the police already let him go? The only sound that answers her is the ticking of the clock. As she sits up on the sofa and adjusts to the bright light, the memories from last night also grow clearer. After she and Artem arrived at the police station where Gerard was located, she ran into the juvenile correctional facility staff who were there to confirm Gerard's identity. Despite the facility staff promising that they would get or allow her to visit Gerard as soon as possible, they seemed to also be heavily engaged in arguing with the police about something. After finally confirming that she would not be able to meet Gerard even if she kept waiting, they all returned to the headquarters in the wee hours of the night to catch up on what sleep they could.
睡糊涂了，感化院那边还没回复，先吃点什么吧。
Are you awake? The juvenile correctional facility hasn't replied to our request. Have something to eat first. Marius walks into the room with a steaming paper bag. When she'd left with Artem last night to see Gerard, Marius was still answering questions from the police. His current expression doesn't seem to indicate anything is wrong. She feels a bit more reassured and tears open the bag containing her breakfast with him. Where's everyone else?
他们休息一会儿就走了，说是还想再去派出所确认一下余粮的情况。
They slept for a bit and headed out again. Something about wanting to go back to the police station to see what's happening with Gerard.
刚才看你实在睡得太沉，就没把你也叫起来。
You were sleeping so soundly, I didn't want to wake you up. Then you... She looks at the steaming breakfast on the table, and the question that just budded in her heart has already been answered. Aww. Cute. In a rare gesture, Marius doesn't take the opportunity to preen and instead spreads out the food and drinks he bought in front of her.
要是大家都跑出去了，谁留下来等感化院的电话呢？
If we all left, who would stay behind to wait for the juvenile correctional facility's call?
哦，对，
All right.
差点还忘了一个人，他因伤休养，所以稍后才会加入我们。
I almost forgot about a certain someone else. He's on sick leave, so he's going to join us later. Who's on sick leave?
聞こえているよ。
Hi, Vin. I heard that. Oh wait, no. Yeah, no, he says I hear you. Yeah. The shade. Vin's voice suddenly sounds through the tablet. Oh yeah, right. He made himself sick. Oh god damn it, Vin. Okay. Rosa quickly turns the screen back to face her. A video conferencing interface has been activated without her realizing it, and Vin's face is showing up under the participant list. Though he is located in a tranquil garden, he frowns and sips on tea as if he has been somewhat slighted. Dr. Richter, how come... Sorry, I didn't notice you were connected.
是啊，既然上线了，就说一声嘛。
Yeah, you need to make a sound when you come online.
要是早知道你已经进会议室，我就不把平板打开了。
If I knew you were already in the meeting, I wouldn't have taken the tablet away. Oh my god. Yeah, Mari's voice acting is very good. I like the little bit of like, the slight like laughs and stuff he adds to the voice. In my defense, I thought she was gonna poison me with sleeping pills, not fertilizer. Maybe just don't drink poison. I know, right? Marius is such a tease. Judging from Marius' expression, it's hard to tell if he deliberately moved the tablet away or if it was an accidental move. And seeing that Marius is making an effort to sound so sincere, Vin visibly pushes back his desire to speak up against this offense and looks at her instead.
あなたを起こしたくなかったからね。
I simply didn't want to wake you up. Aww. That's actually cute. He's such a good voice actor. You melt every time. Yeah.
昨夜の3時頃、泉くんから連絡があったんだ。呉谷くんが失踪した件について朝一で会議をしたいと。
I forget his name is like Izumi. Marius called me at 3 a.m. last night. He said he wanted to have an online meeting this morning regarding how Gerard turned himself in.
けど、言われた通りに会議に参加した途端、声をかける前にカメラをそらされてしまって。
Once I got into the meeting, the camera angle changed slightly before I managed to say anything. Maybe it's because Vin is now significantly smaller than he usually is, but she finds his complaints to be completely unintimidating. Instead, they make her want to smile. However, she doesn't manage to stay amused for too long before she suddenly realizes something. Wait, in that case, if Vin entered the conference call before Marius moved the tablet away, then that means he would have seen her sleeping soundly under the blankets as soon as he connected to the call, and he probably heard her sleepy mumbling as well. He only called him at 3 a.m. to troll him, probably. Vin might have consciously avoided mentioning this out of a sense of courtesy. However, this kind of consideration is making her rather embarrassed in return.
你怎么了？
Are you
是
alright?
不是有什么话想说？
You want to say something? It's nothing. I'm just gonna wash my face and tidy up a bit, and we can start the meeting when everyone is back. Artem and Luke return at around noon. While they are still adjusting to the screen projection, she takes the tablet and turns it around to make sure Vin's view from the camera won't get blocked. Marius, on the other hand, shifts and relaxes against the sofa next to her, then glances at Vin with an ambiguous
不
smile.
仅能居家办公，开会时还占据了最好的位置，哼，搞得我都有点羡慕你了。
Not only are you working from home, but you also get the best seat in the house. You're starting to make me jealous.
うん、確かに悪くない体験だね。
It's not a bad
せっかくだ
feeling.
から次は泉くんに譲るよ。
Next time, you can be everyone's digital pet. Mario seems to want to retort. However, as the screen projection lights up, his mocking expression immediately turns serious. Information on Gerard Boone in the big data lab remains scarce, and even the photos of him were taken from more than a year ago.
간단히 말하자면 우태양과 접촉할 수 있는 기회가 생겼어요.
Oh. Yeah, to put it simply, we got the opportunity to contact Gerard.
경찰이든 소년원이든 그들의 핵심 목표는 우태양의 실종. 그리고 현재 모습을 드러낸 이유를 밝히는 거예요.
Both the police and the juvenile correctional facility are eager to know why Gerard disappeared and why he's returned.
직접 물어보면 오히려 역효과를 낳을 수도 있다며 조사에 협조하기 위해 우태양의 법률 지원을 의뢰했고요.
Okay. Asking him directly for these answers won't work, so the police and juvenile correctional facility have asked us to provide legal aid to Gerard Boone in order to assist with the investigation.
이제 언제든지 우태양을 만나러 갈 수 있습니다.
Now we can see him anytime. But where are we going to find him? In the juvenile correctional facility or the police department?
그 부분에 대해선 우리에게 결정을 맡기고 싶다고 했어요.
They've left that up to us. Left it to us? Can we really do that?
それも少年院側が悩んだ末の答えだと思うよ。
I believe this is a decision the juvenile correctional facility made after thorough consideration.
より正確な情報を得るためにも、今は彼の警戒心を煽るわけにはいかない。
Putting Gerard either with the police or the juvenile correctional facility will only make him more mentally guarded, and it will be even harder to get him to collaborate.
となれば、警察署や少年院といった施設に入れるよりも、比較的リラックスできる環境を選んだ方がいいだろうからね。
However, he may be more receptive to communicating with us if we place him in a relatively relaxed environment.
但又不能像之前那样让他暂住在谁家里。我应该没理解错吧？
But we can't do what we did before and have him live at someone's house, am I right? That call out! That call out! Artem and Luke do not respond, but Rosa clearly sees that Vin raises his brow on the tablet screen. However, Marius doesn't notice his displeasure through the screen. After some thought, he takes out his phone and scrolls through it.
既然这样，不如直接报我名字得了。
In that case, you might as well say outright that I should take care of it.
合印旗下有不少酒店，不管余良想住什么房型都可以满足。
Good night,
这事就能
Alaris.
愉快解决了吧？
It was nice to have you back. It was I'm very glad that occasionally I can do a stream time where you're free. Have a good rest. Good night. There are lots of hotels run by packs. They can provide any kind of room Gerard wants to live in. Would that solve the problem? No, there's something else. She's felt like something was off since Artem started describing Gerard's situation. The conflict Gerard sparked between the police and the juvenile correctional facility seems too intense. Theoretically, the juvenile correctional facility should be Gerard's legal guardian. The police should have released him quickly. But what were they negotiating the entire night? Mr. Wing, the police should only be investigating Gerard's disappearance, correct?
만약 그렇다면 어젯밤 오태양을 만날 수 있었을 거예요.
If that was true, we would have been able to meet Gerard yesterday or last night.
현재 상황으로 봤을 때 경찰이 오태양을 사건의 중요 인물로 지목한 것 같아요.
Looking at the situation, the police have also listed Gerard as an important party involved in a case.
어젯밤 모습을 드러내기 전에 교회에서 분신 자살 사건이 일어났다고 경찰에 신고를 했어요.
Last night, before he turned himself in, he called the police to report a case of self-immolation on the outskirts of the city. Ooh, immolation. Remember how well that worked out, Vin? Yeah. The moment he stops speaking, the big data lab page also stops loading. Rosa watches as all the current cases move one spot down and a new case appears at the top of the page.
사망자 이름은 이충재로 교회에서 택배 센터를 운영하고 있었어요.
The
전과
deceased
기록은
is
없었고요.
The deceased is Remus Kane. He ran a delivery depot at the edge of the city. He has no police records against him.
어젯밤
Last
알
night,
수 없는 이유로 분신 자살을 시도했어요.
Last night, he attempted to kill himself via self-immolation for unknown reasons.
인근 주민들이 택배 센터에 이상이 있다는 걸 금세 알아채 경찰에 신고했고 병원으로 이송돼서 응급 처치를 받았지만 결국 사망했죠.
Though the residents in the area quickly noticed that something was wrong in the delivery department and called the police, he still passed away after being taken to the hospital. The Big Data Lab has already conducted a basic compilation of information regarding the death from last night. Just as Artem said, the deceased himself has nothing special in his history. He was just a small business owner most people would meet when they stroll along a shopping street. However, his mundane quality is precisely what makes his self-immolation all the more bizarre, enough to immensely stimulate her imagination.
独居，父母均去世，快递站经营情况正常，从他的身上也看不出什么和自焚有关的因素。
He lives alone, his parents are both deceased, and the delivery depot doesn't have any financial problems. There's nothing in his life that could be related to wanting to set himself on fire.
要说唯一值得注意的信息点，恐怕就是报警人了。
The only thing worth noting is probably the identity of the one who reported the case.
左然，你说余良是报警人之一？
Artem, you said Gerard was one of those people who reported the case to the police?
맞아요.
That's correct.
경찰의 기록에 따르면 사건 당일 밤 많은 주민들이 화재를 발견하고 경찰에 신고했다고 해요. 우태양도 그중 한 명이었고요.
That's correct. According to the police records, many local residents called the police when they noticed the fire. Gerard was one of them.
하지만 다른 사람들과는 달리 우태양은 익명으로 경찰에 신고한 뒤 가장 가까운 경찰서로 갔어요.
However, unlike the others, he also headed to the closest police station after he made the anonymous report.
당시 우태양을 응대했던 순경 만료는 우태양이 먼저 신분을 밝히고 분신 자살 사건 조사에 협조하겠다는 의사를 표했다고 해요.
Oh. The officer says that he claimed he stated his identity, then declared he could work with the police to investigate the self-immolation case. That's why they're fighting over custody in a way.
우태양이 다른 주민들보다 일찍 경찰에 신고한 점을 고려해 경찰은 우태양을 중요 인물로 지목했죠.
Because he made the call to the police earlier than anyone else to report the case, the police now consider him an important person related to the incident. An anonymous report. Letta Gray's case was first exposed because someone reported it to the police by an anonymous text message. Though it would be very rash to associate Gerard with Letta Gray's case just based on the anonymous aspect of the tip-off, it makes her recall what she saw in the graveyard. The boy she walked past, and the diary someone placed in the front of Letta Gray's grave and tried to burn. Yeah, also like the fire that's now set to Letta Gray's house, a case of someone setting themselves on fire. Could that person be Gerard Boone?
怎么感觉老有人和火过不去啊？
Seriously, why is fire always involved? Yeah, Marius gets me. Marius' sudden exclamation interrupts her train of thought.
前脚刚有人一把火烧了别墅，现在又来个快递站老板把命也搭进去了。
Someone just burnt down the gray house, and now we have a delivery depot owner who lost his life in a fire.
更别提这次连报警人也很反常，匿名报警和自曝身份，这两件事的逻辑完全相反吧？
Hi, Ether. We're doing Tears of Themis today. How are you doing? Not to mention, even the person reporting the case this time is really bizarre. Making an anonymous report and then stating your identity is completely contradictory, right? Yeah. If Gerard doesn't want people to know where he is and therefore chose to report the case anonymously, then he shouldn't have told the police his identity afterward.
우태양의 동기에 대해 아직 단정 지을 수 없지만 상식에 어긋나는 점이 많아요.
Though we can't make a firm conclusion on Gerard's motives, there is a lot that goes against logic in his case.
경찰서에 찾아왔을 때 짐 같은 것도 따로 없었고 휴대폰 하나만 소지하고 있었다고 해요.
When he went to the police station, he had nothing with him. There was nothing except for his phone. Nothing but a phone? That's way too little for someone who's been missing for a whole year. Were there any items that he might have discarded around the crime scene?
현재로서는 없어요.
Nothing so far.
경찰이 수색 범위를 넓혔거든요. 이로 인해 또 다른 의혹이 제기되었죠.
The police have expanded their search already, which involves another point of suspicion pointing to Gerard. He said in Chinese, "Why is it always people versus fires?" Nice. Artem casts his eyes on Rosa for some reason.
당신도 얼마 전에 그 일대에 가본 적 있어요.
Oh. You've actually been to that area for that business recently. I'm pretty sure he says 그 일대, like during that business, like that particular thing. What thing?
우태양이 찾아온 경찰서는 예전에 살던 집이랑 택배 센터와도 가까워서 걸어 다닐 수 있는 범위 안에 있어요.
The police office where Gerard appeared is very close to his old residence and the delivery depot. They are all within walking distance of each other. Rosa and Luke headed to Gerard's old residence a short while ago to find clues regarding his disappearance. Yeah, okay, that must be the business he was talking about. Strange and admiring looks. Ooh, nice. In retrospect, Gerard must have returned to the area immediately after Rosa and Luke left it.
如果多个巧合聚到一起，就绝不可能再是巧合了。
We're okay, we're just doing Tears of Themis. We're catching up on the main story. When so many coincidences pile up like this, there's no way they're just coincidences anymore, right?
冒着暴露行踪的风险也要报警，最后干脆自曝身份，搞不好现身地点也是他亲自选的。
He reported the case to the police even after or at the risk of exposing himself, and then decided to just turn himself in. He might have even picked that location himself.
那接下来，谁和我一起去接他？
Anyway, who's coming with me to pick him up? Marius' phone has been lying face up on the table since Artem mentioned needing to find a new place for Gerard to live. New messages are popping up every few seconds on his phone, and Marius raises his head after quickly glancing at it.
我刚才跟何印旗下的酒店打了声招呼，那里空余的套房还不少。
I've just sent word to some of Pax's hotels. They've got plenty of empty suites.
住宿问题解决了，那么就只剩下谁来负责法律援助了吧？
Now that we've solved the issue of where he'll live, we'll need to figure out who's going to provide legal aid to Gerard. As if you're already working, you say you're a student, you feel somewhat a certain gaze too. Rosa and Artem exchange a look, and he gives a small nod. I'll go. I was responsible for his disappearance case. I should be the one to finish this outright. And if I recall correctly, you need to go on a business trip the day after tomorrow, right, Mr. Wing?
맞아요.
That's right.
그럼 부탁할게요.
Then I'll leave this to you.
사실 오늘 짐 정리하러 가봐야 하거든요. 다른 문제 없으면 먼저 가볼게요.
I actually need to head back and pack my things. If it's no problem, I'll head out.
같이 가요.
I'll go with you. Wow. Why'd he say it like that? The moment Artem gets up, Luke also stands up from his previous position, leaning against the wall. Sounds so serious. He spent the entire meeting staring at the photo of the deceased on the screen, and the only time he speaks up is to announce his departure.
아직 처리해야 할 업무가 남아서 시내에 가봐야 할 것 같아.
Ah, I still have things I need to figure out, so I'll head back to the CBD.
진전이 생기면 바로 연락할게.
If there's any progress, call me right away. Or, sorry, no. Wait, no. That was me mixing up the subtitles with what he said. He said, if there's any progress, I'll call you. Instead of explaining his actions, it feels more like Luke is mumbling to the man smiling in the photo. He quickly leaves the meeting room with Artem before she can ask him for clarification. What's going on with Luke? Is there something suspicious regarding the deceased? She can't help but look at the screen just as Luke had. However, the photo doesn't talk back, nor does it remotely answer her question. If Gerard's reappearance last night made her feel as if the four of them were back to solving problems as a group, her mood now only plummets back to where it was before this case. If she successfully brings Gerard back, would that change the current situation? Oh, everyone's going off on their own again. I need to see you for a second, Artem. While she ponders this, she tries to create some kind of hope to repress the unease weighing down in her heart. Okay, hotel suite.
房卡在这儿，如果有什么需要，可以给前台打电话或者直接联系我们。
Here's the key card. If you need anything, you can call the reception or contact us directly. Okay, time to meet Gerard. The spacious room before her lights up the moment the card enters the door lock. She looks behind her instead of assessing the room before her eyes. Gerard, this is your room. You can come in now. The door is empty, and she receives no response, as if she's speaking to thin air. However, the light rustling sounds coming from the hallway's carpeted floor indicates that the person she's looking for is indeed there. The boy has been abnormally quiet since Rosa and Maria started completing the paperwork for him to leave the police station a few hours ago. He didn't speak and never took off the hood over his head. No matter how she tries to imagine it, she can't associate him with the boy who has been on the run for more than a year. Gerard? The rustling sound becomes clearer. It does become clear. Vin isn't going off on his own. He just took himself out because he drank the wrong poison. At first, she just smells a faint scent of gasoline. Gerard slowly walks toward her as if he knows she'll wait for him no matter how long it takes.
긴장하신 것 같은데 제가 복도로 도망칠까 봐 걱정되세요?
You sound nervous. Are you worried that I'll run away? What? No.
그렇게 부정하실 필요 없어요. 전 걱정되신다면 지금은 도망가지 않을 거라고 약속이라도 할게요.
You don't need to deny it so quickly. If you're worried, I can promise you that I won't run away. He finally emerges from the depth of the dark hallway, completely exposed to the light from the ceiling above. As the two watch him, he lifts his hand to pull the loose hood back a little. He looks far skinnier than she anticipated, and a gloomy sense of rebellion exudes from his thin frame from his year of wandering alone. Gerard versus
절
Marius?
데려오기 위해 얼마나 굉장한 준비를 하셨을지 궁금하네요.
He looks like a little shit. I love it. After all, I'm curious to see how far you'll go and how extravagant you'll make everything just to win me over.
夸张吗？我看还好吧，在这儿待着简直像回家一样。
Extravagant? It doesn't look too bad to me. This feels like home.
집에 대한 정의가 저랑 다르신 것 같네요.
Then we both classify home differently. Oh my god. The suite Marius arranged for him is on the top floor of the hotel and is staggering both in size and available facilities. Moreover, the dizzying height it sits at above the city skyline easily creates two kinds of delusions. One kind would be that the person living here has indeed ascended above other humans, but the other is the realization that everything in this room might as well be a floating cage far above the ground below. The person living here won't fall to their death, but they can't run away either. I see.
그나저나 정말 여기서 지내도 돼요?
But can I really stay here?
미리 말씀드리지만 퇴실할 때 계산서 내밀면서 반값 내라고 해도 전 그럴 돈 없어요.
I've already told you, but if you whip out the bill when we're done and expect me to pay, I don't have that money.
放心，房费都已经结清了，你只管享受就好。
Don't worry, the cost is all covered. You just need to enjoy yourself. Gerard versus a rich brat. Right?
편하게 즐겨라.
Comfortably enjoy myself? He's just a teen in a baggy jacket and loose pants. His outfit makes him look particularly shabby under the luxurious chandelier. He first takes a walk around the room, opening every single closet to examine it. Perhaps the city air conditioning is too cold. Gerard turns his head and sneezes, then tentatively reaches out and taps on the control panel next to him after some hesitation. Unfortunately, the temperature stays where it is. The minibar a short distance away lights up instead with a pop. He instinctively jumps on the spot, reminding her of a small animal, armed to the teeth but still unable to feel secure.
按这个可以调温度。
You can press this to change the room temperature. In Chinese, he calls Marius second master, which is exactly what Vincent calls him, but in a very mocking tone, and it's great. I see. I don't think he's said his name yet, so we'll see. In Korean, I mean.
如果你想打开空气净化系统，对着这里直接说出指令就行了。
Also, if you turn on the air filtration system, just say it out loud to this panel.
청정...
Filtration? Gerard mumbles in confusion at the tiny words that look almost like gibberish. But he soon realizes that he said something he shouldn't and shifts his eyes away abruptly.
그런 거 아니에요. 필요한 안전검사를 하고 있는 것뿐이라고요.
It's not that. I'm just doing a necessary safety check. He moves back a few steps and pulls out a tissue from the tissue box on the table, then violently knocks against an expensive-looking art installation. The artwork sways dangerously and barely escapes the fate of being smashed to pieces when Gerard hurriedly keeps it in place with his hands.
这东西放在这儿太危险了，把它拿走吧，文臣。
It's too dangerous to put this thing here. Take it away, Vincent.
알겠습니다, 작은 도련님.
Yes, small master. Yeah, in Korean, he calls him 작은 도련님. So, the smaller, young master.
작은 도련님?
Yeah, there we go. Small, young master.
对了，纸巾我这儿也有，你要吗？
By the way, I've got tissues here too. You want some? Hearing Marius's words, Gerard shifts his gaze away from Vincent's retreating figure and looks up at Marius's face. After he stands his ground against Marius in this pose for a while, Gerard pulls back the hand he intended to grab the tissue with.
작은 도련님, 배려해 주셔서 감사합니다.
Thank you for your consideration, small young master. Yeah, he definitely uses the mocking tone.
보시다시피 전 방을 검사하고 있을 뿐이니 걱정 안 하셔도 됩니다.
As you can see, I'm just checking out the room. There's no need to you don't need to worry so much. As soon as Vincent leaves the room, Gerard starts to imitate him with uncanny accuracy. When the amount of politeness in a person's speech exceeds that dictated by common societal rules, it can easily turn into a subtle form of rebellion. Marius does not appear upset and goes along with Gerard.
检查？我看不用费那么大劲翻箱倒柜，直接问我不就好了？
Check? You don't need to spend so much effort checking. You can just ask me what's in this room.
早在你搬进来前，我就吩咐人安装好监听设备，不管你做什么，都会在我的严密监视之下。
I already had a surveillance system set up way before you settled in. My people will be watching everything you do.
从这里逃出去更是痴心妄想，因为你的一举一动都会被监控拍下来。
As for escaping from here, keep dreaming. My surveillance cameras will film every move you make. What? Marius, you...
当然是假的，我怎么会犯法呢？只不过有些人更愿意把假的当成是真的，并对此深信不疑。
Of course, that's not true. I'm not going to break the law, but some people would rather believe a lie than accept the truth. He talks formally just to mock Marius too.
所以才会在这个房间里到处开箱检查，是不是？
That's why you're turning this place upside down, aren't you? Ah, Marius looks down at Gerard as he says this. As if he got excited in some obscure way by what he said, Marius casually leans against the empty bar table. Marius is just excited that he found someone new to banter with. Considering that, Vin is currently indisposed. All the alcoholic drinks have been cleared away due to Gerard being a minor. Marius slightly taps against an empty glass as he observes the intensifying anger in Gerard's expression.
类似这种妄想，我还能编很多，是不是说中你的小心思了？
I can make up lots more delusions like that. Did I hit a sore spot?
제 말이 틀렸나요? 공짜는 늘 훨씬 더 비싼 대가를 요구하죠.
Were my words wrong? Free things are usually the most expensive in the end.
뜬금없이 들어와 놓고 절 전혀 경계하지 않는다는 게 더 이상한 거 아닌가요?
Isn't it even more strange for you to bring me here with no reason and not put any restrictions on me? Marius only grins at this goading remark.
你说的那种是控制狂，我只是单纯有钱而已。
What you're describing is a control freak. I'm just rich.
而有钱意味着选择权也会跟着扩大。既然这样，何必知法犯法，把路走窄呢？
Being rich means I have more choices. In that case, why should I take choices away from myself by breaking the law? Filming teenage boys without their consent is illegal. Yeah, it is. Vin is poisoned, Luke is always undercover, and Artem scares him, so yeah, Marius has to find a new friend. Yeah. Marius is just like, finally, someone younger than me.
선택권.
Choices. As if he was suddenly stung by something invisible, Gerard starts to laugh in a fit of extreme anger.
말은 참 잘하시네요. 아빠한테 물려받은 재산인데 그쪽이랑 딱히 상관없는 거 아니에요?
Oh. He says, "You speak very well, but this is just wealth is just something you inherited from your father or your dad. It doesn't have anything to do with you."
是继承来的没错，但我也不是坐吃山空的少爷。既然能把你带来，也有不止一种办法让你留下。
True, I did inherit it, but I'm not a rich boy who's relying completely on my family fortune. Since I managed to get you to come here, I also have more than enough means to make sure you stay. Marius taps the control panel next to the bar a few times, and the gauze curtains covering the floor-length windows slowly pull back to show the scene of the city below. The endless stretch of crisscrossing roads glitter like a vast spiderweb, encasing the land beneath them in a vice-like grip.
你信吗？哪怕我现在把酒店所有门窗都打开，你还是走不了多远。
Would you believe me if I said, even if I open all the doors of this hotel room right now for you, you still wouldn't manage to get far from here?
光是遍布每一条街道的摄像头，就够你喝一壶的。
Yay, Kathy. I can buy you, kid. Good job. Yeah. Just as the cameras covering every street will be enough for you to deal with.
뭐예요? 회유 작전을 실패해서 이제 협박으로 가는 거예요?
Since trying to buy me failed, you're threatening me now?
这倒没有，这里地段还不错，如果能享受一阵，回感化院后，说不定还能把这段经历当成谈资呢。
Not really. This spot and the view are both pretty good. If you can actually enjoy yourself here for a while, it might be a conversation starter when you're back at the juvenile correctional facility.
在酒店顶层的总统套房白吃白住，一个电话就能把最讨厌的有钱人叫来陪聊天。
Living in the presidential suite on the top floor of a hotel for free, calling over the rich guy you hate to come and chat with you with just a phone call.
제가 그렇게 한가하진 않은데요.
I'm not that free.
是吗？看来是我错怪你了。
Really? It seems I read you wrong then.
我以为你特别看不惯有钱人为所欲为的样子，所以才和我对着干呢。
I thought you hated how rich people can do whatever they want, and that's why you're so against me.
那我先假定你是个好孩子好了。既然这样，那接下来你想必也很愿意配合回答一些问题。
All right, I'll bite and think of you as a good kid. In that case, you'll be happy to answer some questions for us, right? Though he is nominally asking for Gerard's opinion, Marius's tone carries a hint of power that allows no refutation. Even as Gerard glares at him with even more visible anger, Marius still appears to take delight in his actions. Perhaps obedient praise is simply too common in Marius's eyes, and enmity stimulates his senses instead.
看我干嘛呀？我又没说让你配合我，
Why are you looking at me like that? I didn't ask for you to cooperate with me.
而是那边那位姐姐。
I want you to talk to that woman over there. Right, Nuna? The most annoying rich guy. Okay, eat there. Have a good time in class. Marius' teasing tone is so good. It is. Gerard looks at Rosa through his long hair, making it hard for her to tell whether his expression is guarded or apathetic. She feels like she's locking eyes with a wild animal. His messy hair is completely cutting her off from his thoughts. However, perhaps sensing that he can't rebel against Marius anytime soon, Gerard leans against a sofa chair behind him and curls up in it.
누나, 궁금한 거 있으면 물어보세요. 여기까지 온 이상 협조할게요.
Aww. Nuna, you can ask me anything that you're curious about. We've already come all this way, so I'll cooperate. He's so much nicer to her. He's so much nicer. Yeah, he says Nuna in Korean. He's so much nicer to her than he is to Marius. Then can we start with, Nuna? Just as she tries to find a spot to sit, she suddenly feels like there's something odd about what Gerard has said. When she looks over at him, Gerard shifts his eyes away for no reason and scratches his head awkwardly.
역시 좀 이상하죠?
I guess that does sound pretty strange, doesn't it?
요즘 같은 세상에 아무한테나 누나라고 부르면 뭐 팔로운 사기꾼처럼 느껴지잖아요.
If you just call a woman Nuna for no reason, then you sound like then it feels like a salesman or a conman, right? She suddenly feels a surge of worry in her heart and subconsciously looks at Marius. He doesn't say anything, leaving Rosa and Gerard alone to chat in an apparent show of generosity, but it's not hard to see the corners of his lips twitch a little.
작은 도련님이 아무렇게나 얘기하셔서 아직까지 어떤 호칭으로 불러야 할지 잘 모르겠네요.
The small young master has been saying so much random nonsense that I realize I still don't know your name.
계속 누나라고 부르길래 저도 그냥
He keeps calling you Nuna, so I just... Even so, having him call her Nuna directly is still quite unprofessional. Gerard doesn't look like someone who'd open up so easily to someone unless there's a reason for him to do so.
姐姐，现在的小孩子都这么自来熟了吗？
Oh, the tension in his voice. Nuna, do children nowadays all act so familiar with strangers?
제가 실수한 건가요?
Did I make a mistake?
경찰서에서부터 계속 누나라고 부르시길래요.
Since the police station, you've been calling her Nuna nonstop.
아니면 작은 도련님만 누나라고 부를 수 있다는 규칙이라도 있는 건가요?
Or is there some rule that allows the small young master to call women Nuna?
아직 어려서 철이 덜 들었나 봐요. 죄송해요.
I guess I'm just a kid who doesn't know anything. My apologies. I like him, this brat. Gerard seems to have been waiting for a chance to one-up Marius for a while and gladly confronts him head-on. His eyes are deviously sparkling with a mischievous light. Though his age might be a bit inconvenient to other situations, it is now a weapon. Don't worry about it. Allow me to introduce myself. Please call me Rosa. I'm a lawyer from Themis law firm and will be providing you with legal aid moving forward. This is my business card. You can also verify my identity on the internet. Feel free to look up any information about me.
테미스.
Themis. Gerard calling him out, right? Gerard turns the small card over and over in his hands. I know you've probably recounted your experience to grown-ups several times already. It's normal to feel annoyed about it. So I'm not going to force you to answer anything. I'll head out soon.
가신다고요?
You're leaving? Gerard's expression remains calm, but Marius looks at her in surprise. She gives him a look and closes her open briefcase. We just met after all. A lot has happened last night and you're probably tired. Thankfully, we've got lots of time. I'll come over whenever you want to discuss everything, okay?
근데 작은 도련님은 그렇게 생각하지 않으시는 것 같은데요?
Oh, but the small young master over there seems to have a different idea. Gerard, I'm the one giving you legal aid. As you've seen, the Mr. Von Hagen is not my employer. I don't have to listen to him. If I, as a legal practitioner, do not ensure your rights, then the police and juvenile correctional facility will immediately hold me accountable. If you truly do not wish to stay here and would like to live somewhere else, I can talk to the relevant people for you. Even if I were to take you out of this hotel right now, no one can stop me as long as I have a legitimate reason. Gerard quietly assesses Marius out of the corner of his eye, apparently considering the possible consequences of his next action. Ah, they're playing good cop, bad cop. Gerard's such a good boy. Yeah, he's just a kid. Marius, on the other hand, immediately understands what she's trying to do and makes an exaggerated sigh.
怎么5分钟不到，二少爷就成相关人士了呀？
It's only been 5 minutes and I'm already reduced to a relevant person?
算了，既然我在这不受待见，还是和姐姐你一起走好了。
Whatever, since I'm not welcome here, I might as well leave with you, miss. If she wasn't standing here with Gerard looking at her, she definitely would have thought Marius was simply calling her that out of habit. However, the special circumstances are enough to immediately overturn that conclusion.
对了，姐姐，一会儿要不要去吃个晚饭？我请客。
By the way, Nuna, would you like to have dinner later? Together later? My treat. She doesn't immediately respond. However, rather than giving Marius the cold shoulder, the two are both waiting with bated breath for something. Though she doesn't know what Gerard thinks about her as an individual, there's one thing she's certain of. For some reason, Gerard loves to clash with Marius, which means he wouldn't let go of an opportunity to make life more difficult for Marius. For example, he would want to stay in Marius' hotel for free, or interrupt Marius' dinner plans.
잠깐만요.
Wait a moment. Rose looks like Marius is my son.
두 분 중에 한 명은 남아도 돼요.
Between the both of you, one of you can stay. He doesn't point out who, but the message in his eyes is clear enough.
매도 일찍 맞는 게 낫다고. 바로 시작하죠.
We should get the questioning out of the way. Let's start right now. All right, let's go. Gerard, I heard from your friend that you left the juvenile correctional facility with someone else? That's a half-truth. She didn't hear this from the police. Instead, she's 100% sure that someone helped Gerard run away from the correctional facility. Gerard looks at her consideringly, then tilts his head in confusion.
친구?
Friend?
친구는 누구요?
Who's the friend?
병원이나 소년원에서 친구 같은 거 사귄 적 없는데요.
I didn't have any friends at the hospital or the correctional facility. In just a few sentences, he has already turned himself into the one doing the questioning. However, he seems to be in no hurry to hear her explanation and continues talking. A few second, young master, I'm stealing your judge.
소년원처럼 거지 같은 곳은 도저히 못 견디겠어서 혼자 도망친 거예요.
I couldn't stand living in that crappy correctional facility, so I escaped on my own.
다들 절 찾는 걸 알고 있어서 장소도 계속 옮기는 수밖에 없었고요.
I knew people would be looking for me, so I never stayed in one place for long.
지금 돌이켜보면 마치 길거리를 배회하는 쥐였던 것 같아요. 절 필요로 하는 사람도 없고 돌아갈 곳도 없었으니까요.
Oh. Looking back on it, I was like a rat scurrying around the city. There was no one who needed me around, and there was no place for me to go back to. Then why did you escape from the correctional facility in the first place? If Gerard ran away because he couldn't stand the conditions of the correctional facility, he should have tried finding somewhere more suitable for him to live after he escaped. Instead, he chose to live on the run, completely giving up on the possibility of a normal life as an ordinary citizen.
나간다는 건 자유를 의미하니까요.
Leaving was
절
freedom.
구속하려는 사람들과도 완전히 헤어지는 거죠.
I would be breaking away completely from the people trying to control me.
아무리 노력해도 쥐가 될 수밖에 없는 운명이라면 사육되는 것보단 길거리 생활이 낫잖아요.
If I'm going to be treated like a rat either way, then isn't the road better than a cage or something like that? Gerard laughs self-deprecatingly after staring at the expensive art installation on the table.
솔직히 적응을 꽤 빨리 했어요. 지난 1년 동안 CCTV 피하던 습관은 몸이 기억할 정도니까요.
I adapted pretty quickly. I almost have muscle memory from avoiding cameras. Speaking of cameras, Gerard was able to live for a whole year without being caught on any cameras in the city. Was he careful or lucky? Or did he have an absolutely safe hiding place to live in? But could such a utopia really exist? Even if it did, why would Gerard want to leave that place? She looks up at Gerard. The soft light from the chandelier falls onto his hooded jacket, and she feels a bizarre sense of familiarity. Propelled by this feeling, she opens her mouth to speak before her sense of reason can stop her. Gerard, have you ever hidden in a cemetery to avoid being caught? She deeply regrets it the moment she says it out loud. She brushes past a certain person in a hood when she and Vin visit Letta Gray's grave. Oh, that person looks very similar to Gerard, even down to the way they dressed.
추모고 거긴 다니는 사람들이 많아서
Cemetery?
쉽게 들킬 것 같은데요.
Those places actually have a lot of traffic. I think it would be easy to get caught there. Gerard says this with a faint smile for some reason. Just like how she doesn't believe he'll be completely honest with her, he also doesn't believe she talked to him without ulterior motives. Gerard, I want to check something with you. Is that okay?
편한 대로 하세요.
Go ahead. The police station you appeared at last night is very close to where you used to live. I think it's more efficient to ask you directly, instead of waiting for the police to finish their investigation. Though she knows that Gerard may not answer such a sensitive question with honesty, she still asks it after taking a deep breath. This isn't a coincidence, right? Did you go back to your family's old apartment?
맞아요.
That's right. Gerard admits it quite frankly. He lowers his head, shakes the large sleeves of his jacket to expose his arms, then stares absent-mindedly at them for a while.
계속 옮겨 다니다 보니 돈이 금방 떨어지더라고요.
Because I was running around from place to place, I ran out of money quickly.
알바로 돈을 벌 수 있다고는 하지만 전과가 있는 데다 거처도 없는 미성년자를 고용할 사장은 없죠.
I could do odd jobs for money, but who's going to hire a minor with a criminal background and no address?
다른 방법으로 절 필요로 하는 사장을 찾을 수도 있겠지만 그건 한 번 발들이면 못 나올 거고요.
There are ways to find the kind of organizations that'll hire someone like me, but there's no going back once I take that path.
그래서 집으로 돌아가야겠다고 생각했어요.
So I thought I should go home.
어쩌면 거기서 현금을 찾을 수 있을지도 모르니까요.
In any case, I might be able to find some cash there. However, Gerard's claims don't hold any water. In the past, he had to sell junk to pay off medical bills, even resorting to fraud. If there was any cash left at his place, it would have been spent long ago. Gerard knows that better than I do. Was he really there just to get some money? Her doubts are confirmed one after another. Not only is Gerard being vague about key questions, but there are also signs that he's outright lying. However, instead of challenging some of his lies, it might be better to see where the liar is trying to lead her. I see, so you went home because you urgently needed money. She pretends to write it down while focusing on what Gerard might say next.
네,
Yes,
그날 밤은 원래 돈을 챙겨서 떠날 생각이었어요.
that night, I just thought about taking some money and leaving.
근데 돈은커녕 그런 일까지 목격하게 돼서
But not only did the money, I even ran into something like that. He means the self-immolation case. Gerard, can I ask you about what happened with that case? Of course, I understand if you don't want to talk about that right now. We can change the topic if you prefer. As Gerard is one of the witnesses of the self-immolation case, the police have arranged for professionals to conduct psychological crisis intervention for him. The intervention has ended, but she still wants to double check if he's willing to talk about what he saw. She's so considerate. Gerard doesn't show any signs of refusal as she waits. He simply looks out at the bustling metropolis outside the window.
집에 있는데 근처에서 불빛이 보이더라고요.
I was at home when I saw the
처음에는 불이 난 줄
light in the
알았거든요.
neighborhood.
근데 누가 소리를 치는 거예요.
At first I thought it was just a fire somewhere, but then I heard someone screaming.
너무 이상해서 가봤는데 문이 잠겨 있길래 뒷문에 자물쇠를 따고 겨우 들어간 거죠.
The whole thing was weird, so I went to take a look, but the doors were locked. I only got in because I picked the lock on the back door. So that's why he smells like gasoline.
그렇게 큰 택배 센터는 아니라서 분명 빠져나올 기회가 있을 텐데 그 사람은 안 나오고 있었어요.
The courier station's small. The person inside clearly had the chance to escape, but he stayed.
분신 자살. 들어본 적 있어요. 그렇게 흔한 자살 방식은 아니죠.
Self-immolation. I've already heard. It's not a common way to kill yourself.
너무 놀라서 얼른 센터에서 뛰쳐나가서 경찰에 신고했어요.
I was so scared, so I ran to find the police. Compared to the other forms of suicide, self-immolation is often used to express some sort of demand or protest. In fact, there are many cases when individuals from marginalized groups are coerced or incited to set themselves on fire. The case only happened last night, and the police have just started their investigation. It's too early to conclude anything right now. She shakes her head, trying to banish the strange possibilities that her brain keeps conjuring up. However, Gerard makes up his mind before she does, and begins to talk about all his speculations. His voice is also really nice in Korean. He was great in Chinese too. You wonder who his VA is. Yeah. I wish that like a few NPCs are given like credit if you search on the wiki sites and stuff in Korean, but not all of them. So I wonder. I'll see if maybe later if I can find out who his VA is. But yeah, his voice acting is pretty good.
이번 사건에도 속사정이 있을 수 있다고 생각해요. 그리고 전 이미 사건 현장에 흔적을 남겼고요.
I think that something else is going on behind this case, and I already left traces at the scene.
전과가 있어서 경찰에 지문 정보를 등록했거든요. 현장을 수색하는 즉시 제가 그곳에 갔다는 사실을 금방 알아내게 되겠죠.
The police have my fingerprints because I have a criminal history. They'll figure out that I went there as soon as they investigate the place. Ah, is that why he's saying he turned himself in?
도망이라도 쳤다간 처벌이 두려워 몰래 도주했다는 혐의를 받을 거고요.
If I keep running, they'll think I'm running away because I committed the crime.
전화로 신고하는 것만으로는 부족해서 그날 밤 현장에 남아 경찰에 신원을 설명한 거예요.
That's why it wasn't enough to just make the phone call. I had to stay behind and tell the police who I was. Gerard actually heaves a sigh of relief when he says this. I think that part is probably honest.
마침 도망갈 돈도 없었어요. 힘들기도 했고요.
It's just as well. Since I don't have much money or energy, it's exhausting to keep running. Based on what Gerard said, there are two reasons why he turned himself in and stopped running. One is that he lacks the funds to keep living on the run, and the other is he believed he needed to clear himself as a suspect after witnessing the self-immolation case, so he walked into the police station on that night. However, she finds it hard to believe that Gerard, as a passerby, would go out of his way to pick the lock and go inside the building to check on things. As she falls silent, Gerard looks at her and tilts his head slightly.
저 의심하고 계신 거죠?
You suspect me, don't you?
굳이 변명하라는 건 아니지만 경찰이 이건 얘기 안 했나요?
I'm not trying to make any excuses, but didn't the police tell you? Tell me what?
전 그 사망자랑 아는 사이예요.
I knew the guy who died.
그러니까 그 사람에 대한 일부 정보는 저만 제공할 수 있다는 거죠.
And so, there might be information that only I can provide about him.
어렸을 때부터 우리 집에 그 사람한테 신세를 많이 졌거든요.
Ever since I was young, he was a great help to my family. Oh, the plot thickens. Remus Kane. All right. Gerard, are you saying that you knew the deceased? She quickly flips through the few pages of the case report that she has on hand, but it doesn't mention the relationship between Gerard Boone and Remus Kane.
한때 이웃이었거든요.
We were all neighbors.
택배를 보내거나 받으려면 아저씨한테 가야 하니까요.
We had to go to him whenever we needed to mail or receive packages. Then can you tell me what kind of person he was? Good night, Kathy. Have a good rest. Sweet dreams.
친절한 사람이에요.
He was really kind.
우리 집이랑도 친하다고 할 수 있죠.
He was close with our family. He seems to suddenly recall something he doesn't want to remember and looks away.
한때 빚더미에 앉을 정도로 형편이 안 좋았거든요.
There was a time my family wasn't doing well.
정확한 액수는 저도 잘 모르겠어요.
Okay. There was a time when my family was in a lot of debt. I don't know exactly the amount, but it was a lot.
아버지가 공사장에서 일하셨는데 목돈을 벌 수 있는 곳은 아니잖아요. 무리하게 일하시다가 결국 돌아가셨고요.
Dad went to work at a construction site, but as you know, there's not much money to be made there, so... And then, in the end, he worked too hard and passed away.
빚독촉에 시달리던 어머니가 도움을 청하러 충재 아저씨를 찾아가는 걸 직접 봤어요.
When the debt collectors came after us, I saw my mom going to Remus Kane for help.
그분이 돈을 빌려주지 않았다면 빚쟁이들이 진작 우리 집을 뒤집어 엎었을 거예요.
If he hadn't lent us the money, the debt collectors would have turned our place upside down.
은혜를 갚는다는 말이 설득력 없는 건 알아요. 근데 아는 사람이 자살하는 걸 목격했는데 그대로 도망갈 사람이 어디 있겠어요?
Oh. That was really a well-delivered line. I know it's strange to talk about gratitude between me and him, but there's no one who would just run away when they see someone they know committing suicide, right? Rosa and Luke investigated a little bit about Gerard's past when they were looking into his disappearance. Although the information she obtained at the time didn't mention their financial situation, it's true that his father passed away in a construction site accident. She didn't know at the time that the incident might have been a consequence of the family's financial troubles. If Remus Kane did help the Boones, then it's true Gerard wouldn't be so cruel as to turn and run after seeing him set on fire. But what motivation did Remus Kane have to kill himself? Gerard, I want to know a bit more about Remus Kane's relationships. Do you know about the other people in his life? She flips through the messy notes she made when listening to Gerard's account, then looks back up at him.
대인관계가 꽤 좋았던 걸로 기억해요. 자살할 사람 같진 않았거든요.
I remember that he was an extremely popular guy. He didn't seem like somebody who would try to kill himself. So did he have any other relationships apart from the neighbors? For example, any employees at the courier station?
제가 거기 살고 있을 때 아저씨가 가족을 고용해 센터 일을 도왔거든요. 지금도 그런지는 잘 모르겠어요.
Remus had hired a family member to help him manage the deliveries when I still lived there. I don't know if that's still true. Family member?
동생이라고 했던 것 같아요. 택배 센터를 같이 운영했던 거로 기억해요.
I think it was his younger brother.
잘 아는 사이는 아니에요.
I remember they managed the
죄송해요.
businesses together, but we don't know each other very well. I'm sorry. Then did you still remember his name? Or do?
이 뭐였더라? 아마 이호성이었던 것 같아요.
I think it's Roman Kane. Okay. Remus and Roman. Wow, they really... Okay, Hoyo verse. All right. I see. Let me check. She flips through a few more pages of the documents, and there's nothing about Remus Kane running the delivery courier station with anyone else. However, given that Gerard's memories about the delivery courier station are from at least a year ago, his account might not be completely reliable. How odd. I'll check with the police again later. Okay.
변호사 누나, 더 묻고 싶은 질문 있으세요?
Lawyer Nuna, do you have anything else you want to ask? As if noticing her thoughts' full expression, Gerard leans towards her instead of completely leaning back against the sofa. They couldn't name him Romulus. Rom, yeah, close enough, I guess. Close enough. Yeah, I see what you did though, Hoyoverse. I see you. He snaps. A show of restraint we didn't think that Team Z had. Well, this story, to be fair, this story is probably not written by Team Z. It doesn't have the signature Team Z stuff yet. I mean, we are not very far into it yet, but this particular chapter doesn't have the Team Z stuff. I feel like Team Z writes particularly for Vin at this point, which is why the last two stories were so crazy. Right? He snaps her notebook closed the moment he's about to see its contents. None at the moment. It's getting late, so I'll leave you to rest. The hotel should have prepared toiletries for you. If you want something to eat, just call the front desk. Let us know if you have any questions, okay?
그게 다예요?
Is that all? She doesn't immediately understand what the question he utters in a low voice means, and she looks at him confused. Gerard leaves the sofa and takes a few steps towards her, watching her reaction with an ambivalent smile on his face. It's as if voicing such a vague question is the norm for him. She's not the first one to be on the receiving end of it, nor will she be the last.
그러니까 정말 와주실 거예요?
That is, will you guys really come?
제 말 한마디면 전화 한 통에 달려오실 거예요?
With just one word or just one call, you'll come running? Yes, if you truly need us, both Marius and I will come. Despite her sincere words, Gerard still looks at her like he's searching for something. Yeah, understandable, this kid has trust issues, right? Especially with adults. He probably hasn't had a lot of them in his life that were, very reliable. I really like Gerard. Me too. And then Vin shot himself with an airsoft. I know, like seriously. And then he poisons himself for sympathy, even though we already had him do something like that before. Like, Team Z, I see you. But yeah, I think this is a different team. An expression fitting for a prank sets in on his face, and he seems determined to trick the adults up until the last second.
그래요?
Really?
그럼 변호사 누나,
Then Miss
작은
Lawyer.
도련님한테 깊게 잠들지 말라고 전해주세요.
Okay, all right. Then Miss Lawyer, please tell the small young master that he shouldn't sleep too deeply.
어느 날 갑자기 충동적으로 전화를 걸지도 모르니까요.
One day, I might really call him up in the spur of the moment. Wow. As it is currently almost midnight, she doesn't run into a single person from the elevator to the lobby. Yeah, the poison. Yeah, right? Seriously. My bro. As footsteps approach her, Marius quickly turns around in front of floor-length window and waves at her.
一个唱红脸，一个唱白脸，这个计划应该没被余良无情戳穿吧？
The old good cop, bad cop routine. Gerard didn't see through us, did he? My god. Marius just voicing all of my thoughts. He's talking about how they put on a show before leaving the suite. Since Gerard seems particularly antagonistic towards Marius, they improvised, earning Rosa the chance to stay with the boy at the cost of Marius temporarily exiting the scene. Actually, he was surprisingly cooperative after you left. You hear that, Marius? You were the problem. Marius getting no sleep. I want Gerard to just call Marius in the middle of the night, being like, I want chicken. After she recounts Gerard's answers to Marius, he looks even more interested. Rather than assessing the current situation, it's more like Marius has found a worthy opponent. Oh my god.
你还别说，这小子说起瞎话来还真是一套一套的。 连草稿都不打一下。
You know, that kid's a really good liar. He doesn't even practice his lines. That might be an exaggeration, but yes, there are a lot of points in Gerard's account that don't make sense. He presented a few reasons for voluntarily turning himself in, but if you think about it, none of them can stand on their own. In other words, he wasn't answering the question properly at all. He was just lying out of habit. Okay. So we're supposed to find the points where it seemed like he was lying, right? Yay! He would and should. Firstly, Gerard said he ran away from the juvenile correctional facility because he couldn't stand life there. Therefore, his goal after running away should have been to improve his living conditions. But not only did he fail to do so, he actively made his living conditions worse. Not to mention that Julian from the correctional facility confirmed Gerard left the place with a stranger, and Gerard didn't deny that. Moreover, Gerard's reason for coming home also didn't make sense. He said he went back to his family's old apartment because he wanted cash, but he was really poor when he lived there, and unlikely to have saved any money. When I take into account about how he looked while talking to me, it's almost like he knew there was no way to earn my trust, so he stopped trying to make a cover story.
是啊，于良很清楚，他之所以会被带到酒店，是因为我们这些大人们已经对他有所怀疑。
Yes, Gerard is very aware that he was brought to the hotel because we adults already suspect him.
他很清楚，这场所谓的询问本质上是一场试探，无论他说什么，都很难改变我们的想法。
He knows very well this so-called questioning is just testing him. He's not going to easily change our perspective no matter what he says.
既然这样，
In
何
that
必
case,
多费口舌呢？
why should he bother saying anything? What about his other claims? The ones about the deceased. Did he lie in those as well?
换在平时，我肯定不会这么联想，但考虑到对方说谎成性，恐怕要对他的每一句话都检验一下了。
I wouldn't think so under normal circumstances, but since Gerard is a habitual liar, we might have to double-check everything he says. Mari's duking it out with a teenager.
现在连案发现场都还没进，
And he's so
这就像
excited
想
about
办
it
法戳
too.
穿一个小屁孩的谎话。
We haven't even set a foot on the crime scene yet and already have to expose an annoying kid's lies. Now that you mentioned it, can we really go to the crime scene? Strictly speaking, as Gerard isn't a suspect but simply a person involved in the case, they do not have the right to enter the delivery depot Kane ran. Marius opens a text message conversation and shows it to her.
这你不用太担心，我刚才就是在和温晨忙这事。
You don't need to worry about that. I was working on it with Vincent.
因为现在你负责给于良提供法律援助，我想以你的名义向警方提交申请。
Since you're providing legal aid for Gerard, I want to send in an application under your name.
现在对我们来说最稳妥的理由，就是以调查于良逃亡原因的名义进入快递站吧。
Right now, the most reasonable excuse for us to enter the delivery depot is to investigate why Gerard ran away from the correctional facility, right? That's true. In the conversation, she immediately spots a screenshot of an application drafted by Marius and compiled by Vincent. Apart from being astounded at Vincent's terrifying efficiency, she also makes sure to praise Marius, who is looking pretty smug next to her. This looks pretty decent. If I open up my own law firm later, I might actually consider hiring you as my assistant. Can you please send a copy to me? I want to double check the details just in case.
遵命，老板。
Got it, boss.
因为说不定明天一早这份申请就能顺利通过。
We call Gerard a little stinker. If you ask me, this application might get approved tomorrow morning.
我先送你回家吧，搞不好等我们从案发现场回来，于良也变得没那么倔了呢。
Let me take you home first. Maybe Gerard will be less stubborn by the time you return from the crime scene. Near the courier station. 1 week later. Contrary to Marius' expected time frame, they finally receive a police permission to enter or to head to the crime scene after many days of anxious waiting. It isn't the first time she set foot in this area, but everything around her still feels deeply unfamiliar. After walking around some dilapidated houses, she finds Darius Morgan standing in front of a cordoned-off area.
신청서는 확인했습니다.
I've confirmed your
이번엔
application.
상황이 조금 특수해서 위에서 심사하는데 시간이 좀 걸렸어요.
The situation is a bit unique this time, so it took longer to process. Unique? He's so cute. She thought he meant the self-immolation case was sensitive on its own, which means the police wouldn't easily allow individuals other than officers to enter the scene. However, Darius does not respond. He instead frowns at a spot behind her.
严队，
Captain Morgan. Marius has just finished parking the car, and he walks over to give Darius a simple greeting. What she didn't expect is for Darius to give an even more curt response in return. He simply nods to Marius, then turns back to Rosa and informs her of what she needs to be careful of.
오늘 감식반도 다녀갈 테니까 현장 훼손하지 않게 조심해 주세요.
The crime scene investigators might come around one more time today. Make sure you don't disrupt the scene once you're inside. What's going on? Even though her name was on the application to examine the scene, Darius' attitudes towards Marius is still far colder than normal. It's as if he's deliberately avoiding Marius for some reason.
참, 이 보고서도 쓸 일이 있으실 겁니다.
You might find this report useful.
그저께 나온 이충지의 1차 부검 결과예요.
This is the result for the preliminary autopsy on Remus Kane.
이충지의 사인은 중화상으로 인한 장기 합병증이에요. 시신의 몸싸움의 흔적은 발견되지 않았어요.
The cause of death was multiple organ failure from severe body injuries. No signs of a physical struggle on the body. Okay. In other words, Kane's death was just from his burns.
다만 한 가지
But there is one thing.
아니에요. 곧
Never
알게 되실
mind.
거예요. 안으로 들어가시죠.
You'll find out soon. Let's go in. Okay. We're on 7, right? Wait, what's happening here? Okay, hang on. We're almost there. We're almost there. Though the fire department immediately got the fire under control on the night of the incident, black soot is still everywhere inside the delivery depot.
该说是幸还是不幸呢？这次的情况相比葛家要好一些。
Is this good luck or bad luck? At least this looks better than the Grey House.
余良和附近居民及时报了警，所以现场才没有完全毁于大火。
Gerard and the local residents reported the incident early enough that this building was saved from total destruction. Marius comes to a standstill next to the scorched wall and looks up at the black soot marks that extend all the way up to the ceiling. Rosa takes a few steps, finding spots where she can still put her feet down, and soon arrives at his side. She then looks around the two of them. Alright. Every wall within sight is marred by pitch-black scorch marks. Looking up, she notices how the burn marks spread from the corner toward the ceiling in a V-shape. Apparently, professionals can determine exactly where the fire started from the direction and angle of these marks. Captain Morgan, has the fire investigation report been completed?
화재 조사팀의 초동 조사 결과 분신 자살 외에 다른 화재 원인은 배제했어요.
The arson investigation team has completed a preliminary investigation, ruling out every possible cause except for self-immolation.
현재 보고 계시는 흔적은 사망자가 남긴 것으로 추정돼요.
So far, the visible burn marks are confirmed as having been left by the deceased.
조사팀이 인근 주민들과 화재 진압에 참여한 사람들을 상대로 상황을 알아보고 있지만 현재의 조사 결과가 번복될 일은 없을 겁니다.
The investigation team is still questioning local residents and those who were involved in dousing the fire, but they're not likely to overturn their current conclusion.
死者
Deceased, huh? Yeah, CSI time. The traces of the fire are very clear, indicating that Remus Kane remained by the delivery shelves, allowing the flames to envelop him and the items on the shelves. The people inside had the chance to run away, but stayed inside. The words that Gerard said to her at the hotel echo in her mind again. But is that really possible? Judging from the current burn traces... Oh, sorry. Ugh. Judging from the current burn traces, Remus Kane didn't move at all after he set himself on fire. Can a normal person really resist the pain of being burned alive without moving an inch? She carefully takes a few steps in the messy delivery depot and suddenly feels a gust of cold air rushing toward her face. She looks toward the source of the wind and sees the depot's back door rattling. Marius also notices the abnormal back door and carefully examines the lock with her.
这就是余良说的被他撬过的后门吧？
This is the back door that Gerard claimed he picked, right? Marius gestures for her to look closely at the location on the locked door. She has to look very closely to spot the tiny scratches there.
자물쇠의 표면에서 채취한 지문이 우태양의 지문과 일치했어요.
We did find fingerprints on the lock that matched Gerard Boone's.
택배 센터 내부에는 CCTV가 설치되어 있지 않아 우태양이 안에서 구체적으로 뭘 했는지는 알 수 없습니다.
But since there are no cameras inside the depot, there's no way for us to confirm what Boone did inside the building.
하지만 현장 상황을 봤을 때 택배센터 내부에서 우태양이 남긴 다른 흔적은 찾지 못했어요.
However, judging from what we found on the scene, Boone didn't leave any other traces in the delivery depot. Gerard claims to have seen Remus Kane set himself on fire, then immediately ran outside to report the case out of fright. However, as only he and the deceased were in the delivery depot, we can't determine if he told the truth. Marius doesn't leave the corner for a long time and keeps staring at the two small buckets lying sideways a little distance away. Could those
看
be...
样式是汽油桶啊，
They look like gas
既然能
cans.
出现在焚烧图痕附近，应该被死者用过吧？
If they were near where the fire happened, then the deceased must have used them.
이 중재가 분신 자살에 사용한 조연성 물질이에요.
These are the accelerants that Remus Kane used when he set himself on fire.
都倒空了呀，他对自己还真够狠的。
They're both completely empty. Remus Kane really didn't take it easy on himself. Someone called the fire department soon after the fire started. Rosa gets a sense of how determined the deceased was when she looks at the pitiful scorched scene before her. Did he only try to kill himself when he set himself on fire? Or was it... She frowns, thinking to examine the cardboard boxes left at the scene, but they are merely express delivery boxes, just as the name implies. These can be transported without any special precautions, so they must have passed the post office's security check. She narrows her eyes and peers into the depths of delivery shelves to make sure she doesn't miss anything. On the shelves, there are a few empty bottles. The bottles are sooty from the smoke, and the logo on them can barely be discerned. Bottles of the same make also litter the floor below. I never knew that packs produce vitamins, Marius.
维生素片，
Vitamins? Marius quickly walks up to the shelves with a surprised expression, but his face soon falls. The words Pax Pharmaceutical are printed on the vitamin bottles, but for them to appear at this moment. Maybe this is why Captain Morgan was awkwardly trying to not say anything to her.
这不是合印的标志。
This isn't Pax's logo. What?
对普通消费者来说，这种印刷确实能以假乱真，但骗不了内行。
This print could definitely trick the average consumer, but it can't fool an insider like
几
me.
年前，确实有人销售过山寨的合印产品，蹭一波名声，以此获利。
Someone did sell counterfeit Pax products a few years ago and earned themselves loads of money and
只是
notoriety.
之前打假打的差不多了，怎么这时候冒出个漏网之鱼呢？
But we thought we accounted for all the counterfeits. How did this slip through the cracks? Rosa examines the vitamin bottles one after the other and realizes there's one commonality between them. They are all empty. Captain Morgan, did you find this kind of bottle anywhere else in the depot? Was there any leftover tablets?
감식반이 수상한 부스러기를 발견했어요. 현재 검사를 의뢰한 상태고요.
CSI did find some suspicious fragments and sent them in for analysis.
다만 양이 너무 적어서 결과가 나오려면 시간이 오래 걸릴 것 같아요.
But the amount of residual medication is quite small. It might take some time to get results. Perhaps sensing that Captain Morgan is looking over at him, Marius doesn't immediately say anything. Commenting on this without even knowing for himself where the bottles came from will only invite trouble. Yeah, it says Pax Pharmaceuticals, or Pox Pharmaceuticals, Super Temu bootleg. I have a funny story about Temu, but I'll tell it later. Marius, look. Medium-sized safe lies on the ground close to the shelves with its lock broken. After she carefully pries open the door, a pile of items falls onto the dirty floor. IOU obtained. Delivery bill obtained.
이 중재가 남긴 개인 문서예요. 화재를 제때 진압한 덕분에 불에 완전히 타지는 않았죠.
Documents that Remus Kane left behind. Since we put the fire out in time, they weren't completely burned up.
차용증은 이미 중점적으로 확인했어요. 그중 우태양 가족도 언급됐죠.
We paid special attention to investigating the loan certificate, and Gerard's family appears on it. Captain Morgan pulls out a paper and points out a line to Marius and her. David Boone, Pansy Boone, these are Gerard's parents, right? That means Gerard didn't lie about this, and Remus Kane did lend money to his family.
没有还款日期，利率也没有标，连借款人的签字也没有。
There's no repayment date and no indication of interest rates. There's not even a signature from the recipient. The absence of a signature means this has no legal standing and could be regarded as nothing more than a piece of paper. Even if the Boone family refused to pay back the loan, there's no way Remus Kane would be able to enforce repayment. If Remus Kane really did lend money to help the Boone family, just like Gerard said, Was this loan certificate just for show? Was the intent to just give the Boone family some money to help them?
这个汪毅是不是太助人为乐了一点？
Doesn't Remus Kane sound like he's a little too helpful? He's like sus. He's like, who is this generous?
개인적인 행위니까 저희가 판단할 순 없죠.
That would be his personal decision. It's not up to us to decide.
그리고 현재로선 차용증보다 택배 송장이 더 이상해요.
Also, compared to the loan certificates, the delivery sheets look far more unusual. Unusual? Number 104, East 2nd Avenue, Airport District, Stellas, delivered item, vitamin tablets? She flips through the delivery record sheets and can barely discern the various addresses that Remus Kane handwrote on the paper. The backside of the sheets are covered with hastily sketched out notes. Upon closer inspection, he finds that most of what is written there is related to the delivery records from the depot. Month O, day E, A vitamins were successfully delivered. Were delivered. Delivery successful. Month R, day C. What a strange way to record everything. Turning from the delivery sheets, she moves to look through the safe to try and find more information, but she suddenly hears Marius clicking his tongue softly.
都是假的。
All fake. Fake?
这些地址，乍一看上去没什么问题，但实际上魏明市并不存在这些地方。
These addresses look fine at first glance, but they don't actually exist in Stellas. Whoa! Remus Kane, what are you hiding? Marius hands his phone to her. The search function for the map app is currently open. She enters the address on the delivery sheet and finds that East 2nd Avenue in the airport district stops at number 104 or 103. The other deliveries also have similar issues. Either the number is wrong or the street is in the wrong suburb.
恐怕寄信人将魏明市内的道路信息打乱，随机生成了假地址。
It's likely that the sender broke down the address system in Stellas and randomly generated fake locations. See, this is why you don't let ChatGPT do it for you. A fake address means the delivery will get sent back. Why would Remus Kane do this?
据我所知，写假地址一般只有2种目的：
As far as I'm aware, there are only 2 reasons for using a fake address.
一是他根本没想寄东西，打个幌子罢了；至于第2种，
One, he didn't want to actually send anything and it's all a ruse. As for the other reason,
他确实想寄点什么，只不过快递并不会通过正常的物流渠道寄出。
he did want to send something, but the delivery couldn't be sent out through normal routes. A deceased victim who died from self-immolation, suspicious documents left by the deceased, and scratches on the lock. The clues are like a jigsaw puzzle piece that's missing pieces. Rosa looks around the delivery depot, not willing to give up on finding a way to connect them together. But just then, the sound of hurried footsteps interrupts her thoughts. Darius walks to the door to say something to other officers coming in and looks even more stern by the time he returns.
감식반 동료가 검사를 위해 더 많은 증거를 수집하고 있어요.
CSI wants to
택배
collect more
선반 앞에
evidence
오늘
for
몰려 있으면
examination.
현장이 훼손되기 쉬우니까 이쪽으로 오세요.
Since too many people crowding the front of the shelves are likely to disrupt the scene, come over here. As Rosa and Marius follow Darius, she sees a few officers rush in hastily. Some of them are carrying huge shoulder bags, and she has to move sideways to avoid colliding with them.
小心，
Careful.
别光顾着看前面，
Don't just look
也要
ahead.
注意脚下。
Be careful of the floor as well. Perhaps not wanting her to trip on the mess in the floor of the delivery depot, Marius stretches his hand behind him as he walks in front of her. Is he doing this on purpose? His palm is stretched upwards as if he's waiting for someone to grasp it. Oh my gosh, Rosa. She hesitates and wonders if she should reach for it, then looks up at his face. Marius? He doesn't look at her. Oh my god. What is this? They're just flirting. At this crime scene. Though Marius extends his hand to her, his eyes are cast farther away. Officer after officer walks past him, busying themselves in front of the shelves and examining vitamin bottles printed with the Pax logo. Whoa! Marius suddenly stops, and she almost runs into him after she can't manage to stop in time. She only realizes Darius has brought her to a relatively empty area inside the delivery depot after Marius helps her steady her on her feet. Sorry, my brain was caught up in the thought as I was reading, so sorry for that. But she spent that time thinking about taking his hand and never taking it. How embarrassing. For Marius, I mean.
감식반이랑 해야 할 얘기가 있어서.
A hand-holding moment. God let him have it. Nope, she did not let him have it. I still need to talk to CSI, so I'll leave you on your own.
떠나기 전에 얘기해 주세요.
Let me know before you leave. A man burned to death at Marius is dying of touch starvation.
이번 주는 계속 이 근처에 있을 예정이니 제 조사가 필요하시면 언제든지 말씀해 주세요.
Welcome back, Mizu. We're just making fun of Marius as usual. I'll be stationed around here for the whole week. Let me know if you want to come back to investigate more. Oh, he's so nice. Thanks, Captain Morgan. Right, I need to ask about Remus Kane's brother. Gerard told her that Remus asked his younger brother, Roman Kane, to look after the business in the delivery depot. However, judging from the data on the deceased provided by the police, Roman seems to have disappeared into thin air. Darius is still talking with the CSI staff. As she ponders whether she should head over, Marius suddenly winks at her.
刚才一直盯我盯得那么紧，现在总算能和你说点悄悄话了。
He was watching me so closely, I can finally talk to you now.
还是说，你觉得这里人多耳杂，想出去再聊？
Or do you want to talk later when there are fewer people? Deliberately lighthearted words often serve to cover something deeper. And this cover will only stimulate one's impulse to peel back and reveal the truth. She finds herself looking once again at the ruinous scene left behind by the fire. Marius, I think Kane's self-immolation doesn't make sense. It can't be explained by the clues we currently have. Even if he wanted to die, he shouldn't have acted like that on the night of his death.
是吗？既然这样，就和我说说吧。
Really? Tell me what you're thinking. So... Okay. So, Kane's behavior is what's not normal. So it has to be what's after, right? Well, I mean, this makes sense. I think there's something going on with something being burnt. We'll just guess. Nope.
我们的时间很充裕，再多考虑一会儿吧。
I think this does make sense though, right? Or is it just because the lock was pried open, so he could have tried to leave? Nope.
我们的时间很
I'm so bad at these. We're lucky we got the last one right. Okay, it was this. Okay. Based on the burn marks on the site, Remus Kane sat in the corner and never moved after pouring gasoline on himself. That obviously doesn't make sense. There's no way a normal person could stay still when they're completely on fire.
没错，哪怕是下定了决心的自杀者，到最后也很难控制自己的生理反应。
That's correct. Even the most determined suicide victim would find it hard to control their physiological reactions to the end. Besides, it's also really weird that he chose to stay next to the delivery shelves. Yeah, I thought that was very suspicious. Currently, the only reason he would have to stay there is to remove evidence showing he possessed counterfeit Pax products. But if that was true, then he never needed to pay with his life. In that case, the decisions and actions he made around the time of the suicide don't make sense at all. Though there are still many confusing clues, Kane's image is slowly splitting into two distinct individuals. Okay. Do you think that one of them faked the other's death? But the autopsy report does say that he died from the burns. Was he knocked out and then set on fire? But wouldn't your body wake up I don't know. According to Gerard, Kane was a generous and helpful delivery depot owner. But the debris before her paints another picture of Kane, one who is not only far removed from the traditional sense of a good person, but also involved in illegal dealing.
要我说，如果遇事不决，不如问问余良。
If you ask me, we can probably ask Gerard to clear things up.
目前我们认识的人里，只有他和死者有过接触。
He's the only one we know who had contact with the deceased.
先不管他会不会还是真话假话混着说，去找他总不会一无所获。
Even if he mixes the truth with lies, we can still get something out of him. That's true. We're not going to gain anything by staying here. I just don't know if he'll cooperate this time. Contrary to her hesitation, Marius puts his phone into his pants pocket rather mysteriously, his expression confident.
关于这个嘛，我倒是有种预感。
Well, I actually have a hunch.
这次我们过去，他脾气应该不会太怪了。
He's not going to be as moody this time. What's going on? Didn't Marius say he's coming up on the elevator soon? She props open the thick sweet door and stands there anxiously as Gerard looks at her suspiciously. No idea, because you don't remember? Or you are just trying not to spoil.
거기서 뭐 하세요? 혹시 벌 쏘세요?
Wait, what did he say? Sorry, I just missed it.
거기서 뭐 하세요?
What are you doing here?
혹시 벌 쏘세요?
Are you perhaps in trouble? Give me a minute. Marius went to the front desk to pick something up. He'll be here right away. I just don't know how soon Marius meant when he said right away. He was originally going to ride the elevator with her and head straight to Gerard's room, but he suddenly headed to the front desk when she entered the lobby. He claimed there was something urgent he needed to take care of and asked her to keep the door open. Just as her thoughts start to wander, the elevator door opposite the suite opens with a ding.
东西来了，都让让啊！
What did you do, Marius? The stuff's here. Make way, make way. Is he bribing him with something? Did he buy him? Okay, this is called okay. Hold on, what's all this? Marius acts like he doesn't hear her, jogging as he pushes the trolley he borrowed from the bellhop into the suite. The trolley is positively stuffed with gifts of various sizes. Faced with such a bizarre scene, Gerard instinctively takes a step backward.
다가오지 마세요.
Don't follow me.
你怎么那么胆小啊？这都是给你的礼物，不是什么怪东西。
Why are you so scared? These are all gifts for you. They're not anything weird.
前几天你现身的消息传到了感化院和医院，那里的人就问能不能往酒店给你送些慰问品。
Folks from the juvenile correctional facility and the hospital heard that you reappeared a few days ago, so they asked if they could send gifts to you at the hotel.
虽说1年过去了，那些人对你和你母亲都有印象，很关心你的下落。
It's been a year already, but they all still remember you and your mom and want to know what happened to you.
我当然是大善人做到底，全都答应了。
And I, being such a generous guy, agreed to bring you all their gifts. Huh? But I thought... Oh my god. Marius. Details about the hotel Gerard is staying in weren't publicized to ensure his safety and make sure no one would help him escape this time. For staff from the hospital and juvenile correctional facility to send him gifts means Marius must have selectively told him about Gerard's whereabouts. He talks tough to Gerard all the time, but he's actually really considerate deep down. She understands Marius's intentions and help pushes the trolley towards Gerard. You must be pretty bored staying inside this room over the past days, right? Everyone's thinking about you, so they sent these gifts over. Gerard bends down and unwraps a package suspiciously. Are you such a coward? Listen, this boy is emotionally, unstable. Not everyone had the luxury of growing up in, a loving family that was rich. Oh my gosh. Marius is such a weirdo. Sometimes I feel like Marius is, considerate, but also so out of touch, you know? But I think that makes sense given his circumstances. So that is pretty good writing. Definitely calling him at 4 a.m. to demand juice, yeah. Gerard bends down and unwraps a package suspiciously. He soon gives Marius a rather mocking smile.
아니, 거짓말을 해도 그럴듯하게 하셔야죠.
No, you're not even good at lying.
친구가 없단 건 제가 제일 잘 알고 있는데 이렇게 선물을 보내줄 사람이 있을 리가요?
I know exactly how many friends I have. There's no way I'd get so many gifts.
是吗？可
Really?
里面还有别人写的信呢。
But there are even letters for you.
你看这里，封面上写着于良收，寄信人叫仲安燕，应该是个女孩子吧？
Why do you say it like that? I mean, I know why he said it like that. See, the envelope says to Gerard and from Bridget Grease. Sounds like a girl.
至于内容嘛，
And the content.
저기요, 뜯어보지 마요.
Hey, don't look at that. Seeing that Marius is about to pick up a fully packed envelope, Gerard grabs it with astounding speed.
怎么？
That's cute.
现在想看了？
Oh, now you want to look at it.
편지가 보통 봉투에 이렇게까지 들어가나요? 확인하는 것 정도는 괜찮겠죠?
Would a normal letter fill up the envelope like this? It's fine if I just check it, right? He efficiently opens the envelope and soon fishes out a cute rabbit keychain.
핑크색이잖아.
It's pink.
是儿童频道黄金档动画的主角吧？
It's the main character from that children's show that airs during prime time, right? To be a
在
brat.
猛兽追赶、四处逃亡的兔子靠聪明才智解决了危机，最后还为自己找到了一个容身之处。
How appropriate this little animation is, right? Yeah. Chased by ferocious beasts, the rabbit ran everywhere and finally solved the crisis using its smarts and even found a new home for itself at the end.
这个礼物的寓意还挺不错的。
This gift has a
你觉得呢？
pretty good meaning, don't you think? Just compare him to a rabbit. Gerard frowns and grips the keychain so tight that the rabbit's ears are getting kind of deformed. However, this doesn't last long. He turns back to Rosa again.
이렇게 당근을 주는 거 보니 또 저한테 물어볼 게 있나 보네요.
You want to ask me something again, right? That's why you brought these bribes?
오늘 택배 센터에 다녀오셨어요?
Did you just come from the delivery depot? How did you know?
감이죠. 아까부터
인-
묻고 싶은 게 엄청 많은 얼굴이었거든요.
Intuition.
그리고 오늘 선물도 가져다 줬잖아요.
You look like you had a whole lot of questions ever since you came in. And you also brought me all these gifts today. Gerard doesn't continue. It's as if he's waiting for her to respond, or rather, waiting for her or Marius to get impatient. She doesn't intend to hide anything from the boy, so she nods. Yes, we came over today to ask you about the deceased. Actually, the police also found some evidence in the delivery depot that Kane might have been involved in illegal dealings.
불법 거래요?
Illegal dealings? Yes, there were many counterfeit vitamin pills and courier delivery sheets that have evidently been falsified found in the delivery depot. Okay. Specifically, I guess Rosa said illegal transactions. So I want to ask you if you heard anything about this when you were still living at home. Gerard slowly puts down the rabbit keychain. He seems to be recalling something, but suddenly smiles at her.
저보단 경찰한테 그 남동생의 행방에 대해 물어보는 게 먼저 아닐까요?
Instead of me, shouldn't you have asked the police first about Remus's younger brother?
표정을 보니까 아직 얘기 안 했나 보네요.
Looking at your expression, it seems they didn't tell you.
아직 택배 센터에서 일하고 있든 아니든 형이 죽었으니 동생을 찾아가는 게 당연한 거 아닌가요?
Whether or not the guy is still working at the delivery depot, the police would definitely go after the younger brother if Remus died.
근데 경찰은 지금 그 사실을 숨기고 있어요.
But the police are hiding that.
이유가 궁금하지 않으세요?
Aren't you curious about the reason why? Gerard once again reverses the questions that were initially posed to him, turning this conversation into him prodding at her. Gerard's gaze moves along the room. He pays special attention to Marius, who is busy replying to messages. Marius reacts right on time and immediately looks up and waves his phone at Gerard.
当然好奇了，
Of course
所
I'm
以我才
curious.
在问警方能不能再和他们聊一聊。
That's why I'm asking the police right now whether we can have another chat with them.
事不宜迟，就不在这里多逗留了。
Time waits for no one. We should head off. Really? What did they... Like, wait. They just got here. Man, Marius has Rosa just running around, right? However, before she finishes her sentence, Marius gives her a look. His intent is clear as day. They'll split up in order to get more out of Gerard. Okay, good. If she was to stand before the floor-length window and look down, she would be able to clearly see Marius's car slowly leaving the hotel. She collects herself and prepares to question Gerard again, but when she turns around, she finds him squishing the rabbit keychain once more. Oh, he seems to be deep in thought and only asks something softly after a long pause.
그 괜찮나요?
Is she doing okay? She couldn't possibly be referring to anyone other than Bridget Grease. Bridget Grease was critically ill, just as Gerard's mother was. Grease then received the black market medication that Gerard provided. However, Gerard still doesn't know what the lifesaver he was handing out truly is. She's recovering. From what I know, Grease's medical and surgical treatments were all very effective, and her condition is improving. Otherwise, she wouldn't have the energy to write a letter or send you a gift, right?
그런가요?
That right? Gerard's tone still sounds a bit antagonistic, but his expression has already softened. After a long wait, those awkward emotions she can faintly sense from him finally condense into one word.
유치.
Immature.
다들 날 꼬맹이라고 생각해서 이런 장난감으로 달래주면 얼렁뚱땅 넘길 수 있을 거라고 생각하죠.
You all think I'm just a kid. And you think that you can fool me with these toys. I think he says something about waving the toys in front of him, but sorry, the voice acting is really good, so I also was distracted by that. I like how his voice trembles when he talks. Like he's frustrated, right? You can just sense it. Those muttered words soon fade when a phone starts to vibrate, making him quickly look up in alarm. Luke? Sorry, I need to take this call.
나야. 지금 시간 괜찮아?
It's me. Are you free right now? What? Luke, what are you doing? Why are you running? Why is everyone running? Luke sounds like he's panting a bit on the other end of the call, and the sound of car horns blaring can be heard continuously. What's happening? Luke, where are you? I can't really hear you.
너랑 유신우 씨가 택배센터에 갔을 때 나도 혼자서 거길 둘러봤거든. 방금 엄반장님한테서 상황 들었어.
When you went to the delivery depot, I went through that area to investigate as well. I just met up with Captain Morgan to share our findings.
감식반이 정보 수집하러 사건 현장에 다녀갔지?
CSI has been to the crime scene to get info, right? Yes, they took away some vitamin bottles left at the scene. That's a long story though. What's wrong?
그 병이 문제야. 병 안에 온전한 약은 없었는데
The problem
남은
is the
구석에서
bottles.
금지 약물 성분이 검출됐어.
There are no whole tablets left in them, but the police still detected trace amounts of illegal drugs inside. Yeah, he's doing such a good job. Yeah, he is. Illegal drugs? She suppresses her urge to look over at Gerard, moving to the other side of the room and lowering her voice.
우리가 전에 발견한 암시장 약물이랑 동일한 건 아닌데 나라에서 규정한 금지 약물 리스트에 포함되어 있어.
It's not the same as the black market drugs we found before, but it is on the country's banned list.
메스칼린이라고 불리는 약물인데 감각 변화와 공감각을 포함한 독성 반응을 일으키거든.
This medication is typically called mescaline, and its toxicological outcomes include sensory alterations and synesthesia.
쉽게 말해 심각한 환각 반응을 일으키고 판단력이 흐려져 자해 행위를 유발하게 만드는 거야.
To explain it simply, it's a severe hallucinogen that can interfere with decision making if ingested and cause those taking it to hurt themselves. Is that enough to explain Remus's strange behavior when he burned himself? The drugs in Themis are crazy, man. I would never take any drugs if I lived in Themis's world because my god. They all sound scarier than crack cocaine. Luke is being Luke, just getting into trouble. Yeah.
이충재가 죽기 전에 한 행동 기억해? 온몸이 불타고 있는데도 제자리에서 움직이지 않았잖아.
Do you remember what Kane did before he died? He was on fire, but he was able to endure it and stay in one spot the whole time.
엄반장님한테서 최신 동물학 검사 보고서를 받았는데 생전에 대량의 금지 약물을 복용했대.
I got the latest toxicology report from Captain Morgan. Kane ingested a large amounts of the same medication before he died.
운 좋게 화상으로 사망하지 않았다고 해도 그 정도면 치사량이야.
Even if he managed to survive the burns, this huge dose would have been enough to kill him. What? As Luke finishes his sentence, Rosa feels her phone vibrate as he sends a digital report over. Despite her shock at hearing these words, she thinks back to the fake delivery sheets she found at the delivery depot. The sheets clearly state that Kane mailed this illegal medication to others and deliberately used fabricated addresses to conceal the true recipients. But this makes even less sense. If Kane wanted to destroy the illegal drugs, why did he choose to ingest them all? It's almost as if he committed suicide out of guilt. Jokes are awesome. Not these.
가능성도 배제할 순 없지만 누군가가 이 상황을 우리에게 보여주고 싶은 걸 수도 있어.
Luke took some vitamins to help him hold on his anime count. Yeah, I guess the drugs can either be like incredibly good or incredibly bad. We're not writing that possibility off, but maybe him committing suicide out of guilt is only what someone wants us to see. Yeah, I feel like it can't be that simple, you know? Someone? You mean?
불법 약물 산업 체인이 얼마나 방대하고 복잡한데 이충재 같은 택배센터 사장은 빙산의 일각이 불과할 거야.
The pharmaceutical industry is often a huge and complicated web of cash flow and material pipelines. Delivery depot owners like Kane are just the tip of the iceberg.
혹시 꼬리 자르기라는 말 알아?
Do you perhaps know that lizards discard their tails to save their life? Yes.
불법 약물 거래로 생계를 유지하는 일부 조직들이 있거든. 그 사람들은 생존을 위해서 노출 위험에 처한 하급 밀매업자를 위협하고 자살을 강요하기도 해.
Yeah, I've seen that in movies. Similarly, some medication traffickers will threaten or even force lower ranked sellers who are likely to be exposed to commit suicide in order to save the entire organization.
죽은 자는 말을 할 수 없으니 모든 죄를 이충재에게 뒤집어 씌우면 남은 사람들은 계속 법의 제재를 피할 수 있겠지.
Dead men tell no tales. As long as they push all the guilt onto the deceased, the rest of the organization can continue to evade the law. I mean, sad but true. We'll do that, right? Rosa hears a soft sigh from the other side of the call and grips her phone even tighter.
이충재의 죽음엔 의문점이 많아. 그러니 이호성도 입막음을 당했거나 조직에 잡혀갔을 수도 있어.
With Remus dying in such a bizarre way, Roman might have also been killed or taken away by the organ.
그래서 이호성의 실종은 더 민감한 사안이 된 거고 경찰은 더 수월한 후속 조사를 위해 이 사실을 숨긴 거야.
That means his disappearance is particularly sensitive to the case. The police chose to conceal this matter to make the investigation easier in the future. Ah, I see. Okay, I can kind of see that. That might be why they're not mentioning it. Got an answer for everything. So that's why the information was missing in the case report I received. But what's the purpose behind the police concealing it? What do you mean by future investigation? Luke's brief silence quietly confirms her suspicions. Her current focus is only on Gerard, but the police often connect many related cases together.
택배센터 일대엔 항상 복잡한 사건 사고들이 끊이질 않아서 분신 자살 사건만 해결해야 하는 건 아니야.
The delivery depot is a place where different people in society mingle. The self-immolation case isn't the only one waiting to be solved.
어쩌면 우리가 대화를 나누고 있는 순간에도 누군가는 두 형제를 시작점으로 삼아 모든 범죄자들을 한꺼번에 잡을 생각을 하고 있을지도 모르지.
Someone might already be thinking of using the Kane brothers as the starting point to catch all the criminals in one go while we're on this case. Rosa dials Marius' number as she hangs up. He has been with her all day and is likely totally oblivious to what Luke has just told her. Come on, pick up. The line is busy. She doesn't have the patience to keep waiting and grab the briefcase that she previously placed on the table.
변호사 누나, 벌써 가시게요?
Are you leaving already, lawyer Nuna? Yeah, there's a minor issue I need to head out to handle. Contact me if you need anything, okay? That's not sus. Maybe Gerard already realizes she has more than just a minor issue to deal with, but she doesn't have the luxury of caring at this moment. She prays that Marius didn't go too far and quickly leaves the room. Uh-oh. Oh my god. Oh no! I mean, from this we can see something's about to happen to Marius. Everybody always gets beat up at some point, don't they? How much more do we have to do? Well, at least hopefully we can get to 12 10. As expected from the usual afternoon rush hour, employees keep checking out of the PAX lobby, making her stand out as she quickly rushes in. She'd made a few calls to Marius on her way there, but they have all been redirected to his voicemail. She also contacted Darius, but he said he hasn't heard anything from Marius. As she's running out of options, she has no choice but to contact someone else.
변호사님? 연락 받았습니다. 작은 도련님을 찾고 계신다고요.
I got your message. You said you wanted to meet Master Marius. Yes, do you know where Marius is right now?
함께 계신 거 아니었나요? 오늘 변호사님이랑 조사할 게 있다고 휴가 내셨거든요.
Hasn't he been with you the whole day? He took the day off saying that he wanted to investigate something with you. Oopsie. Seeing her anxious expression, he seems to understand most of what is happening and doesn't continue.
그럼 일단 제가 위층으로 데려다 드릴게요.
Then I'll take you
그리고-
upstairs first. And then we'll...
그럴 필요 없습니다.
That won't be necessary. Wait, who's talking? There's no need for her to turn around and look for the source of the sound. A few men in suits are already walking up to her. Team Z, what is happening? She immediately sees the words on their name. Tax Investigation Division. Oh. The Investigation Division? Why are they here? In her impression... Okay, this division usually investigates illegal... Sorry, the expression is just throwing me off. I'm gonna ignore it. This division usually investigates illegal activities within the company, such as abuse of power or corruption. Why are they stopping Vincent?
유 본부장님은 지금 바쁘십니다.
Mr. Von Hagen is busy right now.
신원불명의 손님 응대는 미뤄야 할 것 같네요. 유 본부장님은 저희와 함께 화인 바이오의 모조품 사건을 조사하는 중이시거든요.
Let me see.
일부 직원들을 상대로 조사를 진행할 예정이니 관계자 외 인원은 자리를 피해 주시죠.
We plan to investigate select employees in the company. We urge irrelevant personnel to excuse themselves from this. One of the men gives security a look. At the same time, Vincent moves closer to her and silently stands between her and the security guard. She suddenly recalls how Marius was busy replying to phone messages and claimed he was contacting the police. However, she now knows that Darius is completely unaware of the situation, but the investigation division had already been in contact with Marius. Marius didn't contact Darius at all. He came straight back to PAX? Deliberately light-hearted words often serve to cover something deeper. She recalls these words once again for some reason. She remembers the deliberately relaxed conversation Marius had with her at the crime scene and how he personally brought gifts to Gerard. Perhaps none of those actions were to genuinely soothe the people around him. Everything has become a gear perfectly fitted into his plan.
够了，还是我来解释吧。
That's enough. I'll explain later. Oh! We get different art. Only then does she notice that she is standing in the veritable heart of the storm in the middle of a crowd. Marius, however, is at the edge of the crowd, as he selected this view for himself long ago.
侵犯合印商标权的山寨货堂而皇之的出现在案发现场，换谁能咽得下这口气啊？
Counterfeit medication that breached Pax's trademark rights showing up blatantly at a crime scene. There's no way anyone could just take that insult in stride.
那种东西居然能在市面上流通那么久，期间我还得不到任何消息。
That medication has been circulating for so long, and I had no idea.
该不会像外面有些人说的，这地方真有什么内鬼吧？
Could the claims of us having leaks in our ranks be true? He was running to deliver a pile of gifts into the suite and telling white lies to Gerard just a while ago. But now he's openly discussing his hypothesis, and his eyes pass beyond her to land on Vincent. Her first reaction is that he is acting. He's deliberately creating divisions to enact some sort of plan. However, judging from Vincent's tense shoulders, Marius definitely did not warn him of this beforehand.
人们总把阴谋论当饭吃，觉得有什么看不见的东西控制着这个地方。
People always lap up conspiracy theories so eagerly, thinking something invisible is controlling Pax.
那就不如回应一下大家的期待，排查一下我的身边人。
So why don't I respond to everyone's wishes and do a little investigation on the people around me? Those investigation division staff look like hounds, ready and waiting to pounce on Marius's order. However, if he truly wishes to investigate the vitamin pills, he doesn't need to put up such a serious formation. Hold on, Mr. Kim is only helping me arrange for an opportunity to meet with you to discuss something, Mr. Von Hagen. Are you saying that your work is so urgent that you're turning away all guests? She's so very close. As long as she can talk to Marius alone, she'll be able to explain the situation to him, and Vincent doesn't have to exit the scene like this.
是啊，你来的确实不是时候。
True, you got here at a bad time. The more obvious his projection becomes, the more anxious she feels. He lets out a low laugh, seemingly appreciating her obstinacy or being amused at her naivete.
更何况在针对部分员工的调查启动后，你觉得他还是我的助理吗？
Is he betraying Vincent? I mean, suspecting Vincent? No freaking way. Besides, after the investigation against specific staff members was initiated, did you think he would remain my assistant?
所以，律师小姐还是请回吧，这里实在不适合你逗留。
Please leave. This really isn't where you should be.
比起在这里做些无用功，你还有更应该去做的事吧。
Compared to wasting your energy here, you have other business that requires your attention more, right? Vincent, standing a short distance away, seems to want to refute something. However, he doesn't end up saying anything for some reason. As Vincent gradually walks away, she faintly feels Marius giving her a look. They aren't far from each other, separated perhaps by no more than a dozen meters. However, the chilly white light of the chandelier above them seems to have cast down a sharp blade, separating the two on both sides of the scale. I kind of want them to show that image. I feel like that would be such a beautiful image, right? This made you so... I know! I'm so mad! Not Vincent! After witnessing Vincent being taken away, she doesn't manage to see Marius again for the next few days. I understand to a degree that if something like this was going to be kept from Marius for so long, it would have to be someone like Vincent because Vincent tells him everything and he really turns to Vincent for everything. But I also, like, it's Vincent. Nah. The TV news is displaying in scrolling text that PAX has restarted their internal investigations, apparently intending to completely reshuffle the relevant teams to investigate the counterfeit products. Rosa recalls Marius' voice whenever she happens to glimpse these news stories. Compared to wasting your energy here, you have other business that requires your attention more, right? I know Vincent has to delete all of Marius' 3 a.m. tweets. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. A few elders are sitting along the street, basking in the sun as they watch them hurry past. Daria said he'll be stationed at the delivery depot for the next few days, and she can directly go to find him. Since she's really concerned about Roman Kane, whom Gerard mentioned, and also unable to contact Marius for now, she comes to the conclusion that she will go directly to the police. If I'm lucky, I might even get wind of Marius' situation. She rushes towards the delivery depot, but doesn't find any officers there after doing a whole loop around the place. Why is there no one here? Before she can take out her phone to contact Darius, she hears a sleazy snicker behind her.
야, 이제야 왔네.
Yeah, you're finally here. Or you're here now. Vincent has to send Rosa away, or Rosa new bras when they do it in Marius' office. Oh my god. Why does she need... Is the implication that Marius destroys her bras? She can just put them back on. Who's there? She can't see anyone anywhere along the street. For safety's sake, she keeps her steps light and enters the closest alley, then hugs the wall and holds her breath, waiting for these people to show themselves. A few young men soon walk past.
애들이 얼마나 널 부러워하는데. 출세했다, 출세했어.
Is she gonna run into Luke? Are we gonna see Luke in his fake gang gear again? No! The secondhand embarrassment that I get. I can't handle it, guys. Man, we're so jealous of you, bro. You're going places. So they weren't talking to me. A black sedan drives by slowly and stops at the end of the street, cutting off her path, the delivery depot. As the driver rolls down the window, the men all crowd over. The intersection is soon blanketed in smoke from their cigarettes. It'd be best for her to turn back and leave, but what happens next has her rooted to the spot. They got jammed in the copier and Marius.
부럽다뇨? 그냥 운전기사일 뿐인데요. 무슨 말인지 잘 모르겠네요.
Oh, good. He's in a different disguise today. I was like, I cannot handle more of this 30-year-old man. I know he's not 30. I know he's like in his 20s, but dressed like a high school gangster. Oh, I'm so glad he's in a different disguise. Jealous, I'm just a driver. I don't understand what you're talking about. The men continue to smoke around Luke. Someone even offers the contents of an open cigarette packet to him, and he waves it away. Seeing his easy and smooth movements, she gradually recalls how he had played a variety of roles to go undercover in different dangerous situations. No way, he's doing this again? Did he ever stop? I love that Rosa has no idea that he's always been doing this, right? He's not a skater boy today, yeah.
경계할 필요 없어. 큰형님이 고용한 거 다 아니까. 이쪽 일은 처음이라며?
Hyung, you don't need to act like strangers around us. We know our boss hired you. It's your first time working for us, right?
엄밀히 말하면 우리도 네 사장인 셈이지.
That means today we're like your bosses.
그래서 말인데 이따가 태울 여자가 대체 누구야? 본 적은 있고?
You know who that woman hitching a ride with you is? Have you ever seen her?
얘기 좀 해봐. 내가 세상 물정을 잘 몰라서 그래. 너무 궁금하다고.
Tell us more about her. We don't see many good women here. We're really curious.
몰라요.
I don't know.
본 적도 없고요.
Never seen her. Judging from the conversation between Luke and these people, they're simply his employers and not close enough to even be considered acquaintances. Are they not in the same group? Then why is Luke showing up here? Could it be... Luke did tell her that he was investigating around the area while Marius and she were at the crime scene. Although she doesn't know how he got involved with these people in front of her, it's best not to interrupt them.
비켜주시겠어요?
Can you move?
데려가야 할 사람이 곧 도착할 거라서요.
The person I'm about to pick up has
담배
arrived.
냄새는 질색이라고 하더라고요.
She doesn't like the smell of cigarette smoke.
오호, 벌써 캐릭터에 몰입한 거야?
Oh, you're already getting into the
재능이
role?
있구나.
You're talented.
재능이요?
Talented?
여자 꼬시는 재능 말이야.
Talented at picking up girls. What the fuck? Luke is so bad at making up cover stories. He always calls himself Luke. I know, he just uses the same names. Even though the young man is deliberately bending down to speak into Luke's ear, he makes no effort to reduce the volume of his voice.
이런 옷차림으로 그 여자가 차에 타기만을 기다리고 있잖아. 무슨 생각하고 있는지 다 보인다고.
Ew! You're all dressed nice, waiting to meet the girl, but we can tell from a mile away what you really want to do with her.
이번 일만 잘 끝내면
I hate men.
더 이상 구질구질하게 운전기사로 지내지 않아도 될 거야.
As long as you make her happy, you won't be stuck in this driver job anymore.
그나저나 이거 특수 코팅된 창문 아니야? 안에서 뭔 짓을 해도 모르겠네.
Are those car windows tinted? No one's gonna be able to see what you do in there. Ew, please stop. I hate this. I hate this.
가려서 하시죠.
Please be more respectful. I can't stand any of this. I should be like Deep Space MC and ruin everything. I know, right? Deep Space MC would have already jumped into this, and launched a kick to their head. The young man whacks the car windows, and his friends kick the car a few times as if cheering him on.
시질한 놈아, 불만 있으면 내려서 얘기하든가.
You coward! If you're such a tough guy, get out of the car.
아니면 이 형님들이 직접 나서서 널 이 쥐구멍에서 끌어내줄까?
Or should I pull you out of this car? As if wanting to escalate things even further, someone even puts his hand into the window to shove Luke. Rosa barely manages to see him keep his hands on the wheel amidst the chaos, with no hint of retaliation. Just at that moment, she hears the engine of another car from the other side of the street. A few more men jump out of the just arrived van and wave at the thugs already there.
야, 드디어 왔네. 얼른 나 좀 도와줘.
Oh, you're finally here, giving me a... or help me. Or hurry up and help me, sorry. The hope she just felt is suddenly doused, and she feels the skin on the back of her neck tingle. The two groups are about to converge. It's only a matter of time before they find her. This is bad. If this keeps up, it'll really get dangerous. She quietly moves her finger to hover over the emergency call button of her phone. However, even if she calls the police right now, no officer will manage to teleport over here. She's not going to be able to directly confront these men either. What should she do? She suddenly recalls something Luke said.
당장 나와 이 겁쟁이 같은 놈.
Get out of here, you damn coward. What are you yapping about? Oh, here we go. Rosa. Yeah, Luke wouldn't sleep with her before. I'm just kidding. Seeing that the thug is about to reach in and pull on Luke's shirt, she's had enough and shouts. Through the open window of the car, she can see that Luke's tie has been completely twisted to the side. He's looking at her in stunned shock. She pretends not to see his expression and walks up to the thug leading the group. All I did was call for a ride, so why are there so many drivers here?
콜 택시? 그쪽이
A call taxi? So the only thing she can be sure of is that Luke is here to pick up a woman. Moreover, judging from the reactions of everyone around her, the thugs present have never seen her. If she wants to approach these people as well as intimidate them, she'll have to temporarily impersonate the woman they mentioned. Get out of my way, you're blocking my ride. Nice job, Rosa. What's going on here? You aren't getting out to open the door for your guest? She tries her best to act intimidating and stares at Luke. Thankfully, he quickly responds and gets out of the driver's seat to open the back door for her.
잠시만요.
Hey, wait a moment. The thug suddenly steps in front of her. Before she can say anything, he puts his palms together to beg her for forgiveness.
저희가 뭘 몰라서 누님한테 신뢰를 범했습니다.
Please forgive us, madam. We didn't recognize you. Madam?
저희가 몰라 뵀네요. 어떻게 생기셨는지 궁금해서 운전기사한테 물어본 건데.
We didn't know it was you. We just got a bit curious, so we were asking the driver. Hang on a second. Wait, what does he actually call her?
저희가 뭘 몰라서 누님한테 신뢰를 범했습니다. 저희가 뭘 몰라서
We didn't know anything.
누님한테 신뢰를 범했습니다.
Okay. In Korean, he never refers to her by any title, so that's interesting. I wonder what the original line is. Maybe she's just surprised at, like in Korean, maybe her line is just confusion at his formal tone or something. Because he does speak very formally. Rosa, you don't have a gun. This is main story, he's gay. We didn't know it was you. We just got a bit curious about you, so we were asking about your driver. All right, you can call what you did as asking. However, the thug is sticking to her like a piece of gum, apologizing profusely out of his desire to survive.
저희가 실수했습니다. 누님, 제발 화 푸세요.
Okay, here we go. Now he says 누님. We're sorry, it was our mistake. 누님, please forgive us. Boss lady, yeah. Boss lady, nunim, that's about the same. Nunim is, if you recall, what the in Love and Deep Space, what the other prisoners called MC when they decided to make her like their leader. Stop with the nunim already. Just get out.
참,
Yeah, like in gangs.
저희가 안전하게 에스코트해드리겠습니다.
We're happy to make it up to you. We'll all escort you out of here. Escort. She keeps hearing things that confuse her, and she can't help but look at Luke, who is standing silently off to the side. Poor Rosa. He would never have endured something like this in the past, no matter what role he was playing. However, now he simply props open the car door for her, so obedient and silent that it's actually rather bizarre. Please get in the car. Ooh. At least the thugs were right about one thing. Every window has a one-way tint that prevents others from looking in. The interior is unbelievably luxurious. She moves her eyes away from the sky and looks behind her to find the thug's car still following her.
커튼 쳐줄 테니까 일단 이 옷으로 갈아입어.
I'll close the curtains, so put this on. After she gets on the city circle highway, Luke tosses her a paper bag that was on the front seat, then immediately closes the curtain between the front and back row. Though his actions are smooth and decisive, his brow is deeply furrowed as if he's galloping down a road with no return. Am I expected to be in disguise? Oh god. I love that Luke is like, well, you decided to take on the role, you're gonna have to see it all the way through. She tears open the paper bag and takes out a wig and a shirt. Rather than calling the style mature, it'd be more accurate to say very few young women nowadays still dress this way. Luke internally. If she puts on the entire outfit, even someone she knows would have a hard time recognizing her. As she can't see Luke's face, she feels anxiety mixed with confusion silently creeping up in her heart. Luke, what exactly are you doing here? You've been so hard to track down these days. Even if you want to investigate on your own, you need to draw the line.
경찰을 돕고 있는 것뿐이야.
I'm just helping the
분신자살
police.
사건과도 어느 정도 연관이 있고.
It's not directly, but somewhat related to the self-immolation case.
전에도 말했지만 분신자살 사건이 발생하기 전부터 경찰은 범죄 조직 소탕을 위해 택배센터 일대를 철저하게 감시해왔어.
Yeah, we'll find out in 2 chapters about how it's related, right? I missed the line. I think I told you the police were putting the area around the delivery depot under tight surveillance far from before the self-immolation case.
인정 없이 들리겠지만 분신자살 사건은 누군가에겐 재앙이지만 누군가에겐 기회야.
It's a bit blunt, but the self-immolation case might be a tragedy for others, or for some, but a precious opportunity for others. Oh, callous. You mean the police are actually planning to use Kane's death as a chance to close the net on the possible criminal organization behind him?
조직원이 갑자기 죽은 데다 경찰들까지 출동했으니까 가만히 두고 볼 순 없을 거야.
For someone in the organization to die, then attract a bunch of policemen, it's definitely enough reason for someone to move.
며칠 전에 범죄 조직에 잠입한 정보원이 곧 고위층 사람들이 모인 회의가 열릴 예정이라는 정보를 전해왔어.
A few days ago,
회의 내용은 명확하지 않아.
the police informant in the criminal organization sent out word that their executive would be meeting, but no one knows for what purpose.
지금 상황으로선 그 형제와 관련된 사안일 가능성이 커.
However, judging from the current situation, they're probably going to discuss the Kane brothers.
이번 회의에 잠입할 스파이를 파견하는 게 경찰의 계획이고.
The police's plan is to send out an undercover agent to this meeting. But how could an undercover agent gain their trust so quickly? The traffic is quite heavy on the highway. Oh gosh, she's about to be the undercover agent. Luke slowly stops the car and waits for the endless line of vehicles before him to move again. The current traffic conditions are allowing him to take a breather, and his voice sounds much more calm as a result.
몇 년 전에 한 형사가 범죄 조직에 잠입해 간부 자리까지 올라갔어.
A few years ago, an officer went undercover in the criminal organization and managed to climb up to a high position.
근데 나중에 내전에 휘말리게 되면서 보스를 지키기 위해 목숨을 잃었지.
Oh no, then he got involved in a gunfight and lost his life to protect the big boss.
그 사람은 생전에 조직원들로부터 적잖은 의심도 받았고 심지어 신분을 들킬 뻔했는데 오히려 보스를 지키다 목숨을 잃은 게 보호색이 된 셈이지.
Oh, there were a lot of suspicions leveled at the officer. And he was almost exposed, but at the cost of his own life, it became a form of insurance.
보스는 그 형사를 은인으로 대우했고 그 사람이 남긴 유산 덕분에 경찰은 다른 스파이를 파견할 수 있었던 거야.
He is regarded as the boss's benefactor. It's thanks to this legacy he left that the police can now send out the second undercover agent. Oh. The second agent Luke speaks of is certainly the woman she's impersonating. However, how could she be related to the first agent, and why were the thugs mocking her like that? She thinks of a possible answer almost as soon as her mind forms the question. Could it be the second agent's official identity is the first agent's family member or even his widow, and no one has ever seen her before?
맞아.
Exactly.
경찰은 외부인들의 신뢰를 얻기 위해 첫 번째 스파이의 개인정보와 관련된 증거 서류를 제공할 능력이 충분했어.
The police are able to provide the first agent's personal information and relevant identification, and which would be enough so that no one would doubt the connection. She recalls the brief words she heard about this woman's identity, trying to recreate the character she's impersonating. As the pieces slowly come together, she suddenly realizes the problem and quickly pulls aside the curtain to move closer to Luke. Does that mean that the other agent won't get a chance to show herself after all? Or after I said all that to the thugs? Luke doesn't immediately respond, but she doesn't need his answer. Oh god, Rosa has fucked things up. Calling Kathy and screaming about it to him. You don't understand, it was so good and dumb and gay. Oh, I can't wait. I don't even go here. That's cute. You gotta yell at someone, right? because I was so behind. She grabs this shirt in her hand so tight that wrinkles start to appear on it and her voice gradually fades out. I'm sorry, I didn't know that at all. Luke, if there's anything I can do to save the situation, then maybe
괜찮아.
It's alright. The traffic moves forward again. After he presses down on the accelerator, Luke adjusts the rear mirror so that he can have an easier time looking at her. When she looks at him from this angle, the only thing she can see are his eyes. The arrangement doesn't bring the two of them closer at all. In fact, it makes her feel more distant from him.
동료들한테 상황은 설명해놨어. 그쪽에서도 우리가 계속 움직여도 괜찮다고 했고.
I've already explained the situation to my colleagues. They've agreed to let us continue. But
입장 바꿔서 이유 없이 괴롭힘을 당하는 널 봤으면 나도 못 참았을 거야.
if it was me watching you get harassed like that, I wouldn't have been able to withstand it.
게다가 뒤에 꼬리까지 붙은 상황이라 앞으로 계속 나아가는 것 말곤 더 나은 해결책은 없어.
And they're currently following us. We have no choice but to keep driving forward. My phone is at 27%. God, I hope we can last. Even among the various outskirt suburbs, this place is hardly visited by people. People consider this area the burial ground of dead investments. Various abandoned buildings loom in silence over the landscape, like a forgotten graveyard with nameless headstones. Even though the occasional light that can be spotted within are merely urban legends passed down from the various scavengers. As Luke is only playing the role of her driver, he can only stop at the foot of the building. She follows some strangers up the stairs. An incongruous round table is placed in the room before her, and a few people are already sitting around it.
일단 앉으시죠. 보스는 아직 안 오셨습니다.
Take a seat first. The boss isn't here yet. But the guard stops her before she can make her way over.
깜빡하고 말씀을 못 드렸네요.
I almost forgot.
이젠 회의할 때도 보안 검사를 해야 하거든요.
We do a security check before every meeting.
협조해 주세요.
So, I know it's annoying, but
방에서 나갈 때 돌려드릴 테니 걱정 마세요.
they'll return your things when you leave, so don't be concerned. She stares at the guard in the eye and remains impassive as he removes the pistol from her handbag. It's a signal gun that Luke gave her, camouflaged as a pistol. It will make a sound but won't fire any projectile. That's good, I guess. As soon as the ascendants have arrived, she can use it to send a signal for the police to start moving
오늘
in.
밤은 꽤 순조롭네요. 그럼 보스 빼고 다 모인 거죠?
Looks like our luck is good tonight. Everyone except the boss is here.
멀뚱하게 앉아 있는 건 재미없으니까 바로 시작하죠.
We won't get anything done sitting around like this. Let's start the meeting right away. Don't we need to wait for the boss?
보스는 나중에 도착하신대요. 우리더러 먼저 의논하라고 하네요.
He said he was running late
큰
and we can start
사건인 만큼
first.
해결책이 많을수록 좋잖아요.
This is a pretty big problem. We need to come up with a few different plans. Is the boss Marius? Is the boss gonna be Marius? You know I'm not Deep Space MC, right? I know, right? A few members at the table nod and agree. She chuckles once and puts the teacup she had just picked up. I just came back recently and I'm not quite aware of what's happening in our organization right now. What is the big problem exactly? I'm curious.
최근 화인 쪽에서 모조 건강기능식품을 조사하고 있다는 얘긴 들으셨죠?
People at PAX are investigating the counterfeit health supplements. I'm sure you've heard a thing or two about that. Of course, I heard the president is grabbing people left and right to interrogate them. He sounds like a kid throwing a tantrum after he didn't get the toy he wanted.
그래도 본부장인데 체면은 세워주셔야죠. 벽에도 귀가 있다잖아요.
Oh. He is the boss, though you should take it easy on him. The walls have ears.
그 일 때문에 화인 직원이 목숨을 부지하기 위해 우리 쪽에 붙었어요.
Someone from PAX came to save us because of that, or came to us because of that situation and is asking us to save his life. Someone from PAX? Aren't they supposed to be focusing on the Kane brothers? As the conversation starts to slip out of control, her heart can't help but start to beat
그놈
rapidly.
이름이 뭐였더라?
What'd he say his name was? All right.
맞다. 시온. 본부장 비서실장이라고 하던데요?
Vincent! He's the president's assistant.
아니, 근데 아직도 안 데려오고 뭐 하는 거야?
Why hasn't anyone brought him over yet? Stay calm. Stay calm. I love Rosa's eyes here. However, no matter how much she tries to calm, or to remain calm, she can't change the fact that all her previous plans are going down the drain. Luke didn't warn her about this. Perhaps he too is unaware of this turn of events. If Vincent is indeed here, then he certainly won't be here as a guest. She soon hears the sound of people stumbling up the stairs as if someone's been dragged up. No, I don't want to see this. No, not Vincent.
어쩌라고 비서 주제 연약하긴.
What's this, little assistant? You're pretty spoiled. She's unconsciously pinching her leg with her left hand under the table where no one can see until her leg starts to hurt. A dirt-covered figure is shoved into the room and falls onto his stomach on the concrete floor next to her feet, as if he's a giant bag being thrown. No, I don't like this! Hi, Saimatsu! Oh, I don't like this. Yeah, don't get Vincent shot, right? What the... The moment he shakes... Oh, the heartbeat sounds. The moment he shakes off the messy hair before his eyes and looks up, she feels all the blood rushing up to her head. Her temples are pounding, and the maddening rush of blood in her ears almost drowns out that man's voice.
还以为怎么了呢？原来我被请来参加派对了呀。
I was wondering what's happening. Seems like I got invited to a party. He's taking... Ah! He is acting as his own assistant. I see. Okay, that's sweeter. So he was protecting Vincent. But yeah, no, I would also... Oh my god, the panic, guys. The panic. Okay, let's go. Oh my god. Luke choking on his anime cancer in alleyway. Sexily. Vin stepping on a thug while calling him an insect was sexy. Okay. Marius is still wearing the shirt he wore when he ordered Vincent to be taken away that afternoon in PAX. However, the shirt is now covered in dirt. Even though his hands aren't bound, he would have a hard time escaping this dangerous place.
맞아요. 방금 전에 얘기했던 화인 그룹의 본부장 유신우예요.
You're right, this is the PAX president that we were just talking about, Marius von Hagen.
무모한 녀석. 자기가 본부장 비서라고 하더니 약을 판 혐의로 스파이 취급을 받아 쫓겨났다면서 내 부하랑 접촉했더라고요.
Okay, yeah, immediately found out. He's pretty bold. He called himself the president's assistant, said he got kicked out due to involvement with selling the meds, and got in touch with some of the guys who work under me.
세상 물정 모르는 신입이면 몰라도 우리의 눈을 속일 수는 없지.
He was able to trick the new guys, but he couldn't trick us.
이봐, 너 진짜 재벌집 바보 아들 뭐 그런 건 아니지?
You're not really that dumb of a kid, are you?
경호원도 없이 여길 쳐들어온 건데.
You ran over to us without a bodyguard and left all your tough investigation guards behind. It sounds like Marius came over on his own. Why did he do that? She stares at his dirtied face and can't think of why he had to come over on his own. Even if he wanted to investigate how the illegal medication was related to Pax Pharmaceutical, he didn't need to place himself in danger.
怎么了？我有这么好看？
What's wrong? Am I just that handsome? Shut up!
在这儿待了几天，周围全是男的。今天总算见到新面孔了。
I've spent a few days here, surrounded by nothing but dudes. Finally, a fresh new face. He doesn't look as shocked as she was when she first realized his presence. Instead, he looks at her with some interest.
既然能坐在这里，恐怕级别应该和同桌人差不多吧。
Since you're sitting at this table, you're probably the same rank as everyone else here.
虽然不知道你为什么会来这里，我倒是有个提议。
I don't know why you're here, but I have a suggestion. Note to self, stop Marius silly later. What are you trying to
别
say?
急呀、我听过一种说法，在这个远离正常社会的地方，如果有女人爬到了高位，
Hear me out. I've heard people say that if a woman manages to climb the ranks where the rules of normal society don't apply,
她就会变成类似封后一样的角色，不再有人挑她，而是由她来挑别人。
wow, he's offering himself up to be her trophy husband. Then she's something like a queen bee. She'll be the one to select her companion instead of the other way around. Pretending to be 100%.
机会难得，我也看得出你对我有点兴趣，那要不要考虑一下我呢？
Since this is a rare opportunity and I can see you're interested in me, would you include me in your consideration?
이 자식이 다물어. 한마디만 더 했다간
You brat, shut your mouth. If you say one more word. Let him talk. Don't you think it's fun to reduce a high and mighty elite to after-dinner entertainment? Rosa! Rosa, step on him. Rosa, sell it more. Step on him. After all, I have no idea what Marius is trying to do. I can only go along with him for now. If anything happens, I can at least help him manage it. Hear me out. You want a lapdog? I am a lapdog. Yeah. The security guard responsible for everyone's firearms is standing not too far from her. If things turn south, she can just put on another act and take back the signal gun under the pretense of punishing Marius's imprudence. After she analyzes the situation, wow, Rosa jumped right to, if things go south, I could pretend to shoot him. Rosa, please. After she analyzes the situation, she waves at Marius, gesturing for him to come closer. You can certainly fit yourself into different roles depending on the situation, Mr. Von Hagen. However, I've been overseas until recently and don't know what's happening around here. What can I possibly do for you?
我听过一点小道消息，你这几年在那起意外
Rosa make him crawl. Rosa slapped him.
所谓的空窗期。
Marius would find it hot. He would. I heard some gossip that after the incident a few years ago, you've stayed single ever since.
没有可以交谈的朋友，也没有可以抚慰身心的同伴。
You didn't have a friend you could confide in or a companion to soothe your body and soul. Your body? Marius seems to know the first undercover agent's history and has guessed her cover. If he knows that, then he must also be aware that she's now in the middle of a giant whirlpool that could swallow her whole if she's not careful. Rosa, have you considered a kill? No. However, he shows no signs of wanting to escape. He instead immerses himself into the role and suavely adapts to the world around him.
那为什么不选我呢？
Why not pick me?
看上去身居高位，实际上不过是个被困在破楼里的犯人。
You may look like you're in a cushy spot now, but you're just a criminal locked up in a rundown building. Oh.
大厦将倾之前，不如先为自己选好后路，方便之后洗白上岸。
Before the building crumbles, why don't you pick up an exit strategy for yourself first, so you can wash your hands clean and move on later? Oh, it's a pretty reasonable act. But Mr. Von Hagen, there's a prerequisite before I can take your suggestion into consideration. That is, you need to get out of this room alive first. Oh my god. Her foot. Oh my god. I don't think I even have a copy of this card yet. Wow. Just wow. Marius is pretty good at being a hoe. Yeah, he is. As she says this, Marius is violently shoved forward and can't help but move closer to her. The scent of rust, unique to unfinished buildings, is mixed into the residual fragrance on him, emitting a cold and bizarrely sickly sweetness. You want this card so bad. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I have it yet. I don't think I've been doing the thing enough. You're 3700. Oh my god, it's gonna take a while. He can't stand up with so many people keeping watch over him and can only look up at her.
我说错了什么吗？
Did I say something wrong?
在树敌和驯养之间，肯定是后者对你的好处更多。
Between making an enemy and taming one, the latter is definitely more beneficial to you. He's too close. If he so much as lowers his head, he'd be able to prop his chin onto her leg like a docile pet. Rosa! No stars shine outside the broken building. The faces of the people present are hidden in the evening gloom, surrounding them like wraiths. Even so, he's still waiting for her response, regardless of everything else. So she cooperates and leans closer to him. The back of her foot brushes past his necklace. If she moves forward a bit further, she can even pry open his loose collar. Are you really the type who would stay tame and obedient? You don't look it.
你又不是不知道商人的脾气，只要能达成目标，我什么都愿意做。
You know how businessmen work. As long as I can reach my goal, I'm willing to do anything.
哪怕真的要变成小猫小狗向你乞怜，对我来说也是稳赚不赔的生意。
Even if I have to be a little kitten and beg for your mercy, it's still a win-win situation for me.
毕竟你能提供我想要的东西，让我不至于在被驯化的同时过得那么憋屈。
After all, you can give me what I want, so I won't be annoyed while I'm getting tamed. The look in his eyes is halfway between a serious suggestion and a mocking joke, and it's subtly creating a very realistic illusion. It's as if he deliberately ignored the mask she was forced to wear and is taking great joy in speaking directly to her.
比如说，
Oh, he moved
悄
closer.
悄告诉我你刚才为什么一直偷看我。
For example, you can whisper to me why you've been peeking at me this whole time. That's enough. She isn't concerned about her cover being blown. However, while Marius looks at her, she can see things beyond his field of vision. People are currently whispering behind him and getting ready to do something about the disrespect he's shown so far. Therefore, there's only one thing for her to do. His necklace clicks with a soft sound as she deliberately scolds him in a loud voice. Oh, good. Yeah, she has to do that. Love his voice actor. He's so soft. In Chinese, he says little cat or dog. What exactly do you want? She asks him in a low voice. What exactly do you want? She asks him in a low voice while she faces off against him. His response is even softer than hers, and his searing breath brushes past her ear.
我早说过了，这种地方不适合你久留。
I said it already. You shouldn't stay in a place like this for long.
不仅是因为不安全，说实话，现在的你对我来说，更像是个不稳定因素。
Not only is it not safe, you're also an unpredictable variable for me right now, if I have to be honest. He's trying to anger her via his aggravating words. That way, others might drag the two of them apart or even take her out of the room. But evidently, he doesn't know that she, too, has a reason to remain here. When he sees that she doesn't cooperate with him, he sits up a little and draws away from her, like an artist taking a few steps back to appreciate the painting before his eyes.
好轻啊！你吃饭了没？
That was so soft. Did you even have anything to eat?
我看这里也不像是会供应晚饭的样子。你先离席下楼，填填肚子如何？
This place doesn't look like they'll serve dinner. Why don't you leave for now and go downstairs to eat something first?
닥쳐!
Shut up.
여길 파티로 하는 거야, 뭐야?
Do you think this is some kind of party? He gives a look at the others, and Marius' hands are immediately tied up behind his back.
유 본부장님이 재벌가 바람둥이라는 소문은 들었는데 교양까지 없을 줄은 몰랐네요.
His VA is so good. Yeah, that was very well done. I've only heard you were unrestrained and aloof before, Mr. Von Hagen. I never expected, I didn't know that you were so disrespectful and rude.
누님이 화 안 내셔도 우리가 혼 좀 내줘야겠군요.
Even if other people don't lower themselves to your level and get upset at you, you need to learn a lesson today.
무슨 일인데 싸우는 거야?
What's going on that you guys are fighting like this? Before she can get a chance to look up at the newcomer, Marius' expression already turns stern. The footsteps soon stop close to her. A middle-aged man looks around the room and soon frowns. He's the so-called boss? According to Luke, the leader of this criminal organization has only shown himself before his most trusted underlings. The police informants have never seen him before. However, judging from how everyone around her suddenly starts to act deferential, he's probably the person she suspects him to be. The style of his suit is somewhat familiar to her. It looks very similar at first glance to an office worker who might have just clocked out of the PAX building. Oh, is this the, Someone take off his shirt.
이야, 이거 귀한 손님이시네.
Ah, is this our honored guest?
好久不见啊，卢总。
Long time no see, Mr. Lucas.
我就知道你会来看我的。
I knew you'd come see me. All right, so this must be the mole, right? The employer and the employee, the abductor or abductee and the abductor. Two parallel identities that should have nothing to do with each other are now overlapping. She feels herself in a daze and forces herself to keep up with their conversation. The familiarity she felt from Lucas's outfit is no more mere illusion. He does indeed work in PAX and occupies an important role in the investigation division. However, his side job is to protect and oversee the illegal medication trade.
부하가 대어를 낚았다는 말을 들었을 땐 약 때문에 맛이라도 갔나 싶었는데.
At first, when my underlings told me that they caught someone big, I thought they were getting too high on the supply.
처음에 유 본부장님을 잡았다고 해서 기뻤거든요. 근데 내가 너무 단순하게 생각한 것 같더군요.
정보를 알아내기 위해 온 건 아니죠.
I was glad when I first learned that it was you, but it doesn't seem like you're taking this very seriously. You're not here just to get information, right?
只是想换个地方和你聊聊天而已。
I just want to have a chat with you somewhere else.
卢总不仅背景过硬，进公司的时间也比我早得多，说是我父辈的得力干将也不为过。
Literally, what was his exit plan? Honestly, yeah, I have no idea. This is crazy. This is a dumbass plan. Mr. Lucas, you've got a very solid background and were working at PAX way before I showed up. It wouldn't be a lie to say you were a capable assistant to my father.
如果我在公司里质问你，别人不会马上相信，你也不会承认。
If I were to interrogate you in the company, others won't immediately believe me, and you won't admit to anything either.
不止如此，说不定还会打着帮助小辈调查的名号，将可能暴露的线索一笔抹去。
Not only that, you might use the excuse of helping your young president with his investigation to wipe away all the leads that may expose you.
或者再做的绝一点，借此陷害我身边的人，比如助理。没什么比窝里斗更好看了，是不是？
Or you might go even a step further and use the opportunity to pin the blame on people around me, such as my assistant. Nothing is more fun than watching some infighting, no?
그래서 그날 선수치고 시온 씨를 데려가서 보호한 거였군요.
I see. So that's why you made your first move on that day and took Vincent away to protect him.
也不完全算是保护，
Not just for
毕竟
protection.
还要以此为契机接近你。
After all, I needed to use this as a chance to get close to you.
我说过，我为了达成目标，不介意做任何事，顶多最后被人说一顿罢了。
I've said before, I'll do anything in order to reach my goal. The worst that can happen to me is getting scolded. Oh my god. He's way too sleep deprived to make good decisions. I know. Marius deliberately stirred up trouble beyond its intended scope, using it as an opening for this meeting between him and Lucas. Don't make him sound smart, Rosa. This is not a smart plan. However, if he got other people involved, such as Rosa or Vincent, then these people would definitely disagree with him, so he chose to act first and ask for forgiveness later. Lucas, however, doesn't seem to pay much attention to this. He is playing with the teacup he just emptied and is about to push it toward the edge of the table. It's as if the teacup being playfully twirled in his hand is nothing less than Marius himself. As long as Lucas gives it a push, it will smash itself to smithereens.
솔직히 시온
Honestly.
씨와 나 사이에 이해관계가 없다는 걸 누구보다 잘 아는 사람은 나예요. 왜 들통날 거짓말을 한 거죠?
Oh, interesting. I'm aware that Vincent has no business or shared interest with me. Why did you think up a lie that would immediately get seen through?
就是想让你发现啊，一个人听到这种明显假的离谱的说辞，只会对撒谎者更感兴趣。
Because I wanted you to see through it. When someone hears such an obvious lie, they're bound to get interested in the liar. That ties back to Gerard, right?
谁这么蠢，居然敢来骗我呢？
Wow, who would be such an idiot lying to me about this? Then Marius looks around the dilapidated room as if he's enjoying the view at a resort. The night wind is blowing in through a massive hole where a floor-length window should be. Rosa can't help but shiver. I'm gonna shoot him for real, holy cow. I know, right? She can't help but shiver. However, thanks to the cold wind, the torrential chaos in her mind is now calming down. Marius's goal has never been to infiltrate the group and investigate it, but to create a chance to come face to face with his opponent. Yeah, this is stupid. This is dumb. Mr. Lucas, the nominal leader of the criminal organization, is a cautious man. Even if Marius confronted him at PAX, he's not going to get much out of Lucas. So he had to opt for a different way to make Lucas himself show himself. But no matter what Marius wants, it's just too dangerous to use. Himself as bait. Oh,
제가
good.
이 자리에서 유 본부장님을 가만히 둘 거라고 어떻게 확신하죠?
And how are you so sure I wouldn't get rid of you right here?
你不会这么狠心的。
You wouldn't be
毕
that
竟一个
cruel.
活着的陆景和才可以牵制更多人，不是吗？
After all, keeping Marius von Hagen alive gives you power over many more people, doesn't it? This is such a gamble. It is such a risk. He is such an idiot. The writing is actually super good, very good parallels. Yeah. I enjoyed this story. The story also seems a lot less outlandish and crazy compared to the last one. Because the last chapter was quite a ride and 2 full chapters. So
你可以以此要挟我父亲，或是直接和我谈条件，要求中断调查。
you can use me to coerce my father or negotiate directly with me and have me terminate my investigation.
근데 협상하러 온 건 아니잖아요.
But you're not here to negotiate.
恰恰相反。
On the
除了
contrary,
来问问维生素的事外，我确实想打听一个人。
apart from asking about the vitamins, I actually do want to ask you about someone.
汪毅，
Remus
他是
Kane.
你手下的人吧？
He's one of yours, right? The other people sitting around the table are already laughing before Marius finishes speaking. It's as if the name Remus Kane is some sort of a switch that fills the room with joy.
왜요? 유 본부장님도 이 총재가 어떻게 죽었는지 궁금해요?
Why? Are you also curious about how he died?
내 부하였던 건 사실이지만 같은 편이라고 인정하고 싶지는 않거든요.
Oh, Kane did work for me, but it would be hard to acknowledge him as someone on our side.
멍청하고 겁도 많은데다 경찰의 첩자가 되겠다는 헛된 망상이나 하고.
He was stupid and a coward. He imagined he could act as a police informant.
그 싹을 잘라버리니까 불이 확 죽었더라고요.
And when we snuffed out that little thought, he looked like he was crushed. Oh, I see. He was a good guy. He was going to... Oh, no. Man, I'm sad about that. Or are you tortured and still get... I know, right? Marius is dumb. Oh, when we snuffed out that little thought, he looked like he was crushed. Informant. What is Lucas talking about?
这么看来，
In that case,
你们确实有除掉他，帮他体面一下的理由啊。
you did have a reason to remove him and respectably send him on his way.
경찰 수사극을 너무 많이 본 것 같은데요. 이 총재
You watch a lot of crime dramas.
튈게 뻔한데.
Why
왜
would we
굳이
kill
그런
him?
짓을 하겠어요?
Why would we kill him? So, I think he says shamelessly. It would get us into even more trouble.
우리도 이 총재가 분신 자살로 죽었다고 생각 안 해요.
But that is to say, all that to say, we are struggling to or believe that he burned himself to death.
경찰이랑은 다르게 우리만의 조사 방법이 있거든요. 뭐 예를 들자면 이 총재의 동생을 잡아서 신문한다든가.
But different from the cops, we have ways to solve this case, like grabbing his brother. Lucas exchanges a look with the people around him, evidently taking delight in the solution. Rosa, however, is in no mood to laugh with them, and her mind remains preoccupied with Lucas's narrative. So Roman Kane didn't die, but was taken here. Then one of the possibilities she had discussed with Luke is now verified, and she subconsciously looks at her signal gun not too far away. After a pause, she speaks to Lucas. Instead of talking about the Kane brothers, shouldn't we deal with something else first? You saw a bit of what happened here. This Mr. Von Hagen was very disrespectful to me. I don't believe apologizing can resolve the offense. Time to shoot him! Rosa struggles to discern Lucas's expression in the deepening gloom of the night. This is a gamble. She's betting that he indeed feels grateful to her deceased husband and will therefore agree to the request.
어떻게 했으면 좋겠어요?
What would you like to do? Simple. Give me my gun and I'll teach Mr. Von Hagen a lesson. When it comes to this man, his silence might be taken as a sign of approval. Lucas nods, and the guard soon walks up and returns her signal gun to her. She pretends to check the gun all over and glances at Marius' confused face. I love that Marius is like, wait, I did not think this through. No, you didn't, you little idiot. If I want to save both Marius and Roman Kane, then now is the best time to send a signal.
아참,
But wait,
제안이 하나 있어요.
I do have a suggestion. Her index finger hastily pauses on the trigger. She's just one step away. A wave of furious irritation rises up within her, and she barely holds back her temper as she listens to Lucas.
총으로 따끔한 맛을 보여주고 싶다면
If you really want to teach him a lesson with a gun,
멋지게 처리하는 게 좋지 않을까요?
wouldn't it be nice to do it with a bit more flair? What do you mean? Oh god, I'm so stressed right now, Beck. I'm so stressed. What do you mean? Oh god. Lucas walks in a circle around Marius and fixes his eyes on the younger man's back.
유 본부장님이 예술을 좋아한다는 건 모두가 아는 사실이죠. 그리고 예술가들에게 가장 중요한 건 손이고요.
Wait, hang on, I'm not into gunplay. We all know that Mr. Von Hagen is a man of art. For an artist, his hands are more important than anything else. No! I know. He did not. Oh no, this is awful. I can't. Not this.
여기에 총을 쏘면
If you hit him here, Using the tip of his shoe, he points at the center of Marius' hands, which are overlapping as they are bound behind him.
얼마나 아플까요?
How much would it hurt? Upon hearing Lucas ask that rhetorical question, the irritation in her heart suddenly transforms into anger.
유 본부장님, 고작 손이니까 너무 긴장할 거 없어요. 이따가 응급 처치하면 목숨은 건질 거예요.
Don't worry, Mr. Von Hagen. It's just an irreversible injury to your hands. We'll bandage you up afterwards. It won't kill you. As if she wants to end this ludicrous show as soon as possible, and as if she cannot endure Lucas's words any longer, she stands up and walks behind Marius. Though her gun is pointed at his hands behind his back, she swifts it slightly away at the last second. Everything will be over as soon as she pulls the trigger. Oh god, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Also, I'm scared there's going to be a loud noise, and I don't like that. Okay. But if I brace myself, I should be fine. What's going on? Uh-oh. The signal gun doesn't make the sound she expects. No matter how she pulls the trigger, the gun only makes soft sounds as if it's jammed. Oh no, even worse. Why did it have to jam right now? A thin layer of cold sweat emerges on her skin as she feels all the blood in her body flowing backwards, retreating from her limbs into her accelerating heart.
고장이라도 난 건가요?
The gun isn't working. No, 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 someone's gonna give her a real gun. Oh shit. Guys, I can't handle this. Everyone else has also realized something is wrong. If they take the gun for a thorough examination, then her cover will surely be blown. She'll be in an unsalvageable situation and in even more danger. It does seem to be malfunctioning.
어디 봐봐요.
Oh, let me see. Lucas looks attentively at the gun in her hands as if thinking something over. Perhaps not wishing to make her life too difficult for her, he waves at her and gestures for her to put down the gun. However, before she even manages to relax, he says something even more terrifying with a gentle expression. Luke effed up. Luke! Luke! You sent her in with a damaged gun.
괜찮아요.
That's fine.
그럼 제 총을 드리죠.
I'll give you mine. I'll give you my gun. Oh, Marius did not think this through.
자, 받으세요. 제가 가장 좋아하는 모델인데
Here,
전에 써보신
Take
적이
it.
있을 거예요.
this is my favorite model. You must have used it before as well. A real gun! Her hand drops with a sudden weight. The body of the gun is pitch black and smooth, reflecting a twisted image of the upper half of her face on its surface as the light flickers. I can't handle this. Holding onto a real gun before everyone's eyes is already terrifying enough, not to mention she has to aim it towards Marius. You prepared a way, but you didn't check the... Oh god. We can't fire the gun. I can't do it. I don't like guns in real life either, so do not fire the gun. Her new plan has one major prerequisite. However, she'd have to actually know how to use this real gun. Not only does she have to be sure that the gun won't misfire and hurt her or Marius, but she also can't arouse the suspicion of Lucas and the others. Even though she keeps encouraging herself, the gun only feels heavier and heavier, as if something invisible is attempting her
别太勉强自
to
己。
let it go, or tempting her to
如
let
果
go.
不会用，不如我来教教你。
Don't force yourself. If you don't know how to use it, why don't I teach you?
先打开保险，记得一会儿手握稳，走火伤到自己就得不偿失了。
What the F, Marius? I can't handle this. What the F, Marius? Unlock the safety first and remember to hold it steady. It would be a shame if you hurt yourself. Marius, Marius. Hello, fun new nightmares. I know, right? While everyone is focused on her new gun, he seems to be twisting his wrists and trying to get out of his bindings. Dude, we need... Rosa needs Mizuki's therapy. Like, seriously. She makes a decision almost without thinking. Even now, you're still up to your old tricks, Mr. Von Hagen. She takes a chance to pretend to step onto the knot that is getting looser and looser, blocking the view for everyone else. Oh! Oh, good. Maybe.
冤枉，我哪有想逃的意思？
Hey, not fair. I'm not trying to get away at all.
倒是你一直拖着不开枪，要我帮忙吗？
You're the one who keeps dragging it out and won't fire. Need any help?
枪可是很危险的，第一次用能不把自己给打了就不错。
A gun is really dangerous, you know. If you don't end up shooting yourself the first time you use it, that's already pretty impressive. It seems like you aren't going to learn your lesson after all. Don't move. After she whispers to him, she kneels down behind him and pretends to tighten the knot. But in fact, she makes it even looser. Good girl. At the same time, how does she... Okay. What's that noise?
是不是小弟打架呢？
Maybe your boys are having a fight? The constant loud thuds coming from downstairs temporarily attract everyone's attention. Judging from the prolonged screams coming from the stairwell, the situation is very different from Marius' casual guess. It's the cops! The cops found us! They moved in early? Everyone apart from Rosa and Marius immediately becomes alarmed and all prepare to move downstairs. Lucas rushes towards her instead and tries to separate her from Marius. Go, we...
别急啊，
Hey, what's the rush? There is a quick pull on her arm, and the gun that was just in her hands a second ago lands in Marius' grip. The rope falls on the floor like a dead worm as Marius levels the gun at her and unlocks the safety. She falls down on the floor in a sitting position right in front of him, and the sound of guns being drawn is immediately heard all around. Ishinu, drop the gun. I know you've never used something like that before.
那就赌一次吧。
Then, let's have a wager.
你，还有你那些喽啰大可以动一下，看看这女人怎么脑袋开花。
You and your men can make a move, and you'll watch as this lady gets her brains blown out.
不过我看你也别管什么女人了，都火烧眉毛了，是不是？
But I don't think you have much time to worry about the lady, right? The situation is getting pretty dire. The sounds coming from downstairs keep grating against everyone's ears, and it's hard to tell if Marius is the one at a disadvantage, or whether it's these people trying to put up a united front but are in fact caged in this room. Marius, are you insane?
날 체포하면 모든 게 끝날 거라고 생각하나? 내가 잡혀도 내 윗선은 꼬리를 자르고 도망갈 거라고.
You can't possibly think everything will be fine once you've caught me, right? If I get caught today, that just means people above me have given up on me.
내 윗선 그리고 더 위에 있는 사람들. 당신이 다 잡아낼 수 있을 거라 생각해?
They and the ones above them. You'll never be able to catch them all.
네가 자란 곳이 정말 깨끗한 곳이라고 생각하는 건 아니겠지?
You don't seriously believe that the place that you grew up in is all clean.
我当然知道了。
Of course I know all about that. So what?
我周围的世界确实光鲜亮丽，但搞不好其实和这烂尾楼没什么两样。
Good thing Luke also has no patience. I know, right? The world around me is all pretty and sparkling, but it might be no different from this unfinished building.
年久失修就算了，里面有人还想把我也搞得一身脏，就像现在这样。
Forget about old and run down. There are people trying to cover me in dirt, just like what you did in this building. Marius laughs instead of being upset. It's as if the incredulity and rage in his opponent's words are sweet desserts from a fancy restaurant. He chews and savors these emotions at will until he has digested them all.
不过那都无所谓，
But that's all
以
for
后的
later.
事以后再说。
I'll
我
cross
只
that
在意
bridge
今晚。
when we get to it. I'm only worried about tonight.
你知道吗？我还挺喜欢被你们称作疯子的。
Oh, I like that. You know what? I actually enjoy how you guys call me a madman.
毕竟你们辱骂我时的表情和语气，远比奉承我时真实，更像个人。
After all, your expressions and tones seem a lot more human when you slander me compared to when you're flattering me. He carefully aims the gun at Rosa as everyone watches him. A loud sound booms out behind her the moment his fingers brush over the trigger. Oh my god. Stressful. Dude. I can't believe Luke gave her a defective gun. The conflict doesn't last long, and the unfinished building soon falls under police control. The police discover Roman Kane in a storage room. He is in very bad shape and can hardly speak due to the prolonged confinement. They'll have to wait for him to recover before asking him about the case. I am delirious from sleep deprivation, and I'm weirdly horny. Yes, that is Marius' current state of mind. Nothing can faze him. Dude, seriously though, this guy. Rosa will have to wait for him to recover before asking him about the case. Everything seems to have been resolved. Marius is still talking with the police while she is anxiously looking for someone else amongst the various hurrying officers. Found him. Luke is putting handcuffs on a delinquent next to an overturned emergency lamp. The lamp shines upward in a fan-like shape along the wall, making his face rather pallid. The delinquent says something in a jeering manner as he struggles, but Luke doesn't respond.
일단 가까이 오지 마.
First, don't get too close. As if he's concerned the delinquent struggling might hurt her, he suddenly speaks up to warn her to stay away when he hears her footsteps. She ends up standing next to the wall and watching as he hands the offender to the police. Why did you guys move in early?
네가
Why
너무
did you guys move in
오랫동안 안
early?
나오길래 계획을 바꿨어.
We were in there for so long that we changed our plans. Yeah, just impatient. Can you believe it gets even better for you? Okay.
그래서 말인데 상황이 어쩌다 그렇게 된 거야?
Speaking of, how did things turn out like this? Well, that's a long story. She's about to tell Luke the whole story when he turns and covers his mouth with his hand. He coughs. His cough sounds soft and muffled under his hand and is mixed with a concerning sound of him clearing his throat. Is it the anime cancer?
살에 들린 것 같아. 동료한테 가서 물 좀 달라고 할게.
I think I choked a bit. I'm gonna go ask someone for some water. I'll get it for you. Everyone seems so busy.
금방 올 거니까 괜찮아.
I'll be right back. It's
여기서
okay.
잠깐만 기다리고 있어.
Just wait
알겠지?
for me a bit, okay? Luke completely disappears into the crowd as if he didn't hear her suggestion at all. This is pre his anime cancer is cured, right? I don't remember because my timeline's all messed up because I waited too long to do this. Unable to contain her worry, she asks a few officers and starts to look for Luke in the direction they pointed out to her. Oh no. According to the officers, they saw Luke walk alone towards the stairs. Few people come to this place where everything is decaying in slow motion, where ancient posters have fused into the peeling white plaster. Luke? Oh, it's definitely the anime cancer. He's gasping while holding onto the twisted iron railing. The bottomless stairwell from which soft wails of the wind can be heard is right in front of him. Even though hardly anyone would come here, Luke is still suppressing his sounds of discomfort. Maintaining a strong front seems to have become an instinctive part of him. Marius got freaky and I pointed your crappy broken signal gun at him. The one-man show brings her a sharp pain of sorrow and discomfort, and she can't help but walk faster. Main story: his cancer is not cured. Then what is happening? Luke.
여긴 왜 왔어?
Oh, why'd you come here? He looks back at her with a helpless expression. He's gripping the railing so tightly that the peeling paint is falling off in bits like snowflakes.
일단 거기 그대로 있어.
First, just stay right there.
금방이면 괜찮아질 거야.
I'll be all right in a moment. That's when an alarming familiarity suddenly slams into her. It was just like when she witnessed Luke's condition suddenly flare up, back when he faced off against Sky Harper during her initial research for Gerard.
진짜 안 와도 돼. 너
It's all right if you don't come any closer. Luke, if you don't feel well, you can come back with me. Humans always have an idealized view of their dwellings, believing that they can defend against everything outside of it as long as they hide within that place. He still believes it, even when he starts to walk silently towards her. Oh! Enjoy. Whoa. That's what she was wearing? That's the disguise? Okay. Her vision suddenly turns upside down as a sharp pain erupts along her back, and she almost has to close her eyes from the sudden cloud of dust. The powerful, intimidating presence around her reminds her that Luke is pushing her onto the floor without her having to even touch him. He's blinking mechanically as if he's temporarily blinded by some sort of dust and cannot see his surroundings. However, the more he blinks, the more unfocused his eyes become, and his breathing is accelerating. Luke, what's wrong? Dust keeps falling onto the two of them, and she has to shake her head to get rid of the debris on her face in order to see him clearly. Luke seems to be obeying some overwhelming instinct. He's searching for her wrists and trying to put them next to each other.
움직이지 마.
Don't move. Whoa, what is happening? Wait, what is this voice? I don't recognize this voice.
손들어. 널 불법 범죄에 연루된 혐의로 긴급 체포한다.
Keep your hands up, or I don't think he said up, but you're under arrest for being involved in illegal activities.
내가 협조하라고 하기 전까진 쓸데없는 행동은 하지 마.
Don't do anything useless until I tell you. What are you talking about? A strange familiarity suddenly comes over her as she recalls the member of the criminal organization he handed over to the police earlier. However, this time, she's not the observer, but the one being pushed down. Luke, it's me! You... Her struggles only result in an even tighter grip. However, Luke soon realizes that he does not possess any handcuffs to subdue the criminal, and he starts to feel anxious. Oh dear.
수갑이 어디 간 거지?
Where are the
분명
handcuffs?
챙겼는데.
I swear I had them. Yeah, it's really good, but like... Yeah, his Agent Raven voice. Yeah, apparently. Luke, I'm not a criminal. You got the wrong... She's gripped by sudden horror the moment she says that. An ordinary person would never fail to recognize someone they know at such close distances, unless what he sees is drastically different from objective reality. Hallucination? She's witnessed a patient influenced by N2X jump off a building while hallucinating. It was back when they were investigating the black market medication. The victim who fell to their death and Luke, two people who should never have crossed paths, are becoming one in her eyes. However, even this bone-chilling association is soon broken by Luke as he powerfully presses her down to the ground.
내 이름은 어떻게 알았지?
How do you know my name? Oh my god, this is crazy.
정보가 누설됐을 리는 없는데 누구한테서 들은 거지?
That information wouldn't have been leaked. Who did you hear it from? No,
명령이다. 대답해.
This is an order. Tell me. Or answer. The person Luke is right now will never receive the answer he wants, just as she cannot prove to him who she actually is. Perhaps thinking she's using this to buy time and possibly run away, Luke appears to be ready to raise his voice. Are you two out of your mind? The weight on her suddenly lifts. In the next second, Luke is suddenly tossed onto the ground a short distance from her. Oh my god! Oh my god! This is the stuff of Korean dramas. This is the stuff of trashy romance novels. I love it. This is fun. You use your actual name for every investigation. A police officer grabs her arm right on time. Only then she realized she and Luke were mere centimeters away from the stairwell. Had they stayed there for one moment too long, the both of them might have toppled into the endless darkness. Are you insane? Why were you holding her down in a place like that? Do you really think you can handle the consequences if something happens to her? Oh, I love his angry voice. Like, Marius, like, actually losing his cool. Dude. Okay. Oh, no. This is gonna add 10 more times guilt to Luke. Oh, no. This is bad for his poor therapist is gonna have to work, like, twice as hard. You two don't care about your lives? Dude, I yelled. Yeah, man. As Marius is currently grabbing onto Luke's collar, Luke is sitting in a very bizarre position. He doesn't even try to get away, and his shifting eyes seem confused. Have you calmed down yet? Dude, have you calmed down yet? You yelled at the canonical Marius X action, yeah.
정신 차렸어요.
I've come to my senses. I'm sorry. 미안. 미안! Did you hear it? Here. Let's hear it one more time. Maybe.
정신 차렸어요. 미안해요.
You love it. Yeah, he never gets to angry panic yell. That was good. That was really good. He suddenly pauses when he locks eyes with her. Luke. Luke's poor therapist needs a raise, right? Like, they're gonna have so much stuff to work through. She instinctively tries to say something to soothe him. However, Luke's entire body violently shivers when he hears his own name. He should be able to clearly see that she's not wounded at all at this distance. But he still looks away after some hesitation. His hair, drenched in sweat and sticking to his forehead, quivers and falls over his eyes. Oh, man. The breathing. The Mian, yes. Despite being seated in the familiar police station, her mind is wandering far away. She hasn't seen Luke since the end of the police operation against the criminal organization. Though she's tried sending him messages, he only mentioned via sparse replies that he's in the hospital undergoing a routine health check. Quote, routine health check. Oh my god. What exactly is happening to Luke? Oh, new outfit. Well, I don't know if it's really that new, but it's my first time seeing it. It's not bad. Looks nice. Spacing out again. The amount of Tron. I know, right? The office's door opens with a creak. Marius greets the people outside, then walks in with his hands in his pants pocket. It's nothing. We're seeing Roman Kane today, right? Roman has had a speedy recovery after he was rescued from the unfinished building. And she soon applied to the police for permission to meet him. The appointed time is for today. When is he going to get here? I read through the information on him last night and listed some key concerns. Not wanting him to worry about her, she quickly opens her notebook. Alternatively, she might just be avoiding a certain topic with Marius.
我说你呀，
Seriously. Rosa having to hold a gun to Marius. Marius holding up a loaded gun to Rosa. Luke nearly killing Rosa. Yeah, dude, they all need to go through therapy. Like, every single one of them needs, like, an intervention. Like, psychological intervention after this.
以工作为借口掩盖自己心里在意的事，只会更快露馅。
Covering up your true thoughts using work as an excuse will only get you exposed faster.
先拿着这个，
Hold on to this for now. I've got good news for you. He passes the stack of bound documents to her.
我刚才进来的时候，警方让我把这份笔录交给你做参考。
The police asked me to, when I came in, to give you this record as a reference. Routine health check, Luke presumably torturing himself onto multiple injuries, and his poor surgeon friend had to deal with his nonsense, right? Well, that's nice. They got...
他们刚审问过在烂尾楼落网的犯罪组织成员们，并由此复原了一份成员名单。
They just finished interrogating the criminal organization members they caught at the scene and recreated a list of their ranks. Okay, have a good sleep. Thanks for sticking around with me.
但没有提到汪蒂安。
It mentions Remus Kane, but not Roman.
在他们的描述中，汪蒂安属于没有正式入伙的编卖人员，所以才会被那样随意监禁起来。
They describe Roman as an outsider who didn't formally join them, which is why they locked him up without any serious security.
这也不是他们第一次这么对待汪蒂安了。他们还承认，以前逼迫过汪蒂安帮汪毅卖药。
Oh. And it's not the first time they treated Roman like that. They also admitted they coerced Roman into helping Remus sell medication before. Okay, so Roman's not a bad guy.
除此之外，这群人中还有一个人透露一件事，和夏燕有关。
Ooh, also one of them said something else. It's about Luke. Refused to believe Marius doesn't... I know, right? He must be like messed up. She grips the documents tight. The member who had the most interactions with Luke that night is likely the man he subdued.
他说，夏燕在给他戴手铐时，样子有点不太对劲。他觉得很眼熟，就调侃了夏燕几句。
He said Luke looked really weird when cuffing him. He thought the way Luke looks seemed familiar, so he mocked him a few times. Familiar?
他看过很多瘾君子受戒断反应影响时的样子，和夏燕表现差不多，就觉得夏燕也刻了点什么。
Aw, no way. He's seen a lot of addicts go through withdrawals. He said it looks similar to what Luke was going through, so he concluded that Luke was also taking something illegal.
当然是他胡说，听听就过去了。
Of course, that's just nonsense. We don't have to take that seriously.
夏燕现在恢复得很好，如果他真的服用过什么药物，根本不可能这么快就好转。
Luke is recovering well. If he really took something, there's no way he'd recover so quickly.
不等我们去探视，他说不定自己先出院了。
He might even be dismissed from the hospital before we get around to visiting him. But you still went to visit Luke, didn't you? The scent of hospital disinfectant clings to Marius and is hard to ignore. He doesn't waste any effort in refuting her and only takes out a candy wrapper from his pocket.
是了，还顺便从前台拿了块糖吃。
Yeah, I
你要
did.
不要也来一个？
I even got candy from the front desk. Want one? As if wanting to make the conversation less serious, he puts a piece of candy into her hand. He then holds the wrapper in the office doorway, where the brilliant sunlight is pouring through. With a twirl of his fingers, multicolored specks of light dance and splash out into a whirlpool of crystal clear radiance.
他恢复的比我想象中快多了。那天的事确实没给他留下任何身体方面的影响。
He's recovering far quicker than I anticipated. What happened that day definitely didn't have much of an impact on his body.
虽然我不是医生，不敢保证以后会发生什么，但至少，
I'm no doctor and I can't promise nothing will happen, but at least...
要是他的身体能一直维持住现在的状态，之后应该不会有什么大问题。
If he can maintain his current state, he shouldn't be in serious trouble in the future. Really? Luke. She keeps her eyes on the light refracted by the candy wrapper as she mumbles to herself. It's one of the few pieces of evidence that proves Marius indeed went to the hospital. Marius himself is acting very confident and nods at her.
这样你也可以放心了，对不对？
Now you don't have to worry as much, right? He's very considerate.
都是第一次见他变成那样。
He knew that she would be worried anyway, so he went to see Luke, make sure that like he would be able to confirm to her that Luke was really okay, so that she wouldn't like have all these thoughts on her mind as she goes to see Roman. He's really quite nice. I do like Marius. I like all of them, except for Vin. They went to visit Luke. They kissed. You do think Marius is lying to her not to worry her, and Luke is still going through it. Yeah, but he's trying to be very considerate, right? So he's trying to at least show her that he did visit, so that she can trust him. This is the first time we've seen him like that. He looks away from the dancing lights and studies her face. However, she feels like he's harboring some stubbornness, particularly because he is twirling the candy wrapper in such a relaxed manner.
你确实是第一次见吧？
This is actually your first time seeing him like that, right? How should I tell Marius? She knew she couldn't hide this from him, as she's about to open her mouth.
저기 잠깐 실례할게요.
Sorry, excuse me, but...
대화 중이신가요? 제가 잘못 찾아온 건...
Are you busy? Did I perhaps find the wrong place? Who is this? Sorry, I was like distracted by how pretty he is. Vin and Luca's hospital room buddies? Oh god, no.
경찰로부터 변호사님이 절 만나고 싶어 한다는 연락을 받아서요.
Oh, but I do think that Vin is not in the hospital anymore, right? Wasn't he already discharged and is like in a garden or something? Or was that the hospital garden? I don't know. The police told me that a lawyer was looking for me. The youth before her stumbles a little out of nervousness and then takes a few steps back to look at the plate on the office door. No, we've just been waiting for you. She feels extremely relieved due to Roman's arrival and quickly gets him to sit down, then starts chatting with him. Oh, okay, this is Roman. Oh, he's much younger than I expected. He still looks rather tired. After all, the past few weeks have been extremely tough on him. I'm sorry, we made you come out here as soon as you recovered.
괜찮아요. 연락 안 주셨어도 제가 먼저 도움을 청했을 거예요.
It's alright, even if you didn't contact me, I would have gone to you for help. Apparently, Roman had already helped the police recognize and confirm multiple criminal organization members before he met her, and is therefore already under police protection. At the very least, he's been cooperative with solving cases after he was found. She therefore decides to skip the small talk and cuts to the chase. Vin would poison Luke just to get more privacy. Yeah. Alright, here we go. Then let's start with the basics. Can you talk about your relationship between you and Remus?
이충재. 우리가 성은
이충재.
같지만 피가 섞인 형제는 아니에요.
Oh, we have the same last name, but we're not actually related. Oh, interesting. Roman grows somewhat agitated. He clenches his hands into fists and rubs his fingers together.
경찰이 얘기했을지도 모르겠지만 전 고아예요.
I don't know if the police were able to tell you this already, but I'm an orphan.
10년 전 이충재가 절 걷어주고 앞으로는 자기가 내 형이라면서 이호성이라는 이름을 지어줬어요.
Remus adopted me 10 years ago, gave me a new name, and said he'd be my older brother from now on. Hang on. 이충재. Okay. I'll look into their names a little later in the Korean version. Or like, yeah.
그해 전 12살이었고 이충재는 30대 초반이었죠.
I was 12 and he was in his 30s. In other words, Roman is about the same age as Marius. Oh, wow. Rosa steals a glance at Marius next to her. Both of them are the younger of two brothers, yet their lives are as different as night and day. Roman, what a meaningful name. She can hazard a guess that Remus King gave his brother this name with the hope that he would grow up strong and brave.
可你们当时没有走合法的领养程序，对吧？
But you didn't go through the legal adoption process, did you? Marius slips through the files from the police to find the page with Roman's personal details, then passes them to her. No matter how she searches, there are no adoption records in there. But there's no need to specifically confirm it. Considering Remus Kane's age at the time, it would have been extremely difficult for him to legally adopt a child under 14.
맞아요.
Right.
법을 떠나서 이충재는 신분 때문에 정상적인 입양이 불가능해요.
Even the law aside, it would have been difficult for him to adopt a child.
만약 이충재가 절 집에 데려가지 않았다면 지금까지 살아남을 수 없었을 거예요.
If he hadn't taken me home, I might not have survived.
물론 그게 아니었다면 그 배후의 세계와도 접촉할 일이 없었겠지만요.
Of course, if it wasn't for him, I also wouldn't have come into contact with the world he was hiding behind him. Is he talking about the criminal organization? The expression Roman wears when he talks about this is very bizarre. It seems to be caught between yearning and hatred. Yeah, this must be very conflicted for him, right? Kind of like there's a gratitude, but also, thanks for, sucking me into this awful life, right? You were getting grooming vibes? Ooh, I hope not. He nibbles anxiously on his bottom lip. His past has two sides, and it's hard to tell whether happiness or pain takes precedence. However, there is no avoiding the topic. She sits up straight and thinks about how she can get Roman to relax. So you're saying Remus was working for the criminal organization before he adopted you?
네.
Yes.
택배센터는 고위층의 간부가 이충재한테 맡긴 거예요.
The delivery courier station was assigned to him by the higher-ups.
이충재는 금지 약물. 그러니까 메스칼린을 제작하고 판매했어요. 구매자 중에는 인근 지역에 사는 일반 주민도 많아요.
Oh. Yeah, I'm still here. Mescaline, that is. And many of... Oh, he made the illegal drugs himself. Mescaline, that is. And many of the people he sold it to were ordinary folks who lived nearby.
어차피 대부분의 사람은 평생을 여기 갇혀 지내게 되거든요.
Those people were...
못 받을지도 모르는 철거 보상금을 기다리면서.
Those people were probably going to be stuck there for their entire lives, waiting for relocation assistance funds that might never come. As Roman's low voice trails off, the only sound left in the room is the soft whir of the ceiling fan. He once lived in the same area as Gerard. In other words, Gerard also lived with this kind of despair every day. However, Marius frowns and doesn't seem to agree with Roman's description.
一个快递站老板，既能制药又能卖药，他的原料进货渠道是哪里？
A delivery courier station owner can make his own drugs and sell them. How did he get the raw ingredients?
번거로운 일은 조직이 도맡아 했어요.
Oh yeah, not quick.
대부분 조직이 제공했죠.
It's never quick, Ether, whenever we do a Tears of Themis main story, because the main story is always so long and it's getting longer. I did think I might quit early, but I seem to have regained my energy, so we're fine. The criminal organization looked after everything. Most of the raw ingredients came from them.
약물을 판매하면 조직은 이윤의 일부를 보호비로 받았어요.
They then took a cut from the profit of the drug sales as a protection fee. Compared to a small dealer flying solo, a well-organized group would definitely be better equipped to enable the illegal drug trade. At the same time, this information brings up another question regarding Roman Kane. And when did you find out about this, Roman? He thinks for a while, then shakes his head at her.
정확한 시점은 없어요.
There's no particular moment I could put my finger on.
어렸을 땐 우리 집이 다른 집안과 미묘하게 다르다는 것을 어렴풋이 느꼈을 뿐이에요.
When I was a kid, I could sense that my family was different from everyone else's.
이충재가 평소에 늘 웃는 얼굴이긴 해도 출세욕이 대단하거든요. 조직에서 위로 올라가고 싶어 했어요.
Oh man. Remus is complex, right? Because we had a very different impression of him at the beginning. And now we see that beneath that, he was definitely a different kind of guy. Yeah, I'll replay Marius yelling in the other languages too. I'm kind of curious. Remus might have been an easygoing guy in everyday life, but he actually really wanted to climb up the ranks of the organization and get more power.
그래서 약 판매를 도맡아 하게 된 거고요. 절 입양한 것도 조수를 키우기 위해서였을지도 몰라요.
That's why he took on the drug business. Maybe he only took me in because he wanted to raise a helper. Ah, you mean that type of grooming. Helper? Roman looks at her and smiles.
변호사님, 대부분 성년이 된 생일에 선물로 뭘 받죠?
Oh no, don't make this sad. Ms. Lawyer, when it comes to normal people, what would they normally get on their 18th birthday?
전 상상이 안 가요. 제 생일 선물은 비타민 알약 한 병이었거든요.
I can't even imagine it. Because on my 18th birthday, I got a bottle of vitamins. Vitamins? The ones in the delivery courier station?
그 사람들은 저도 이젠 다 컸으니까 그쪽 세계의 일을 접할 때도 됐다면서 형을 도와 일하라고 하더군요.
That's so sad. They said I was grown up, and it was time to help my brother with his work. That's when I started to get involved in that world. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Definitely grooming him in order to have him, like, join the gang. Oh, that's awful.
억울해도 어쩌겠어요. 조금만 참고 견디면 다 지나가지 않겠어요?
Does it matter if I felt bad about it? If I just grin and bear it, it'll be over soon, right? But that's how it was. The process of Roman entering the criminal organization was more like a well-planned corruption that could not be fought against. Like the addicts who came to buy the drugs, like Gerard, who tried his best to get money for his ailing mother. Roman had no choice. He could only stay right there amidst the coercion and the threats and wait for the moment he was swallowed whole. Okay, bye-bye, good night. Next, I want to check with you about what happened on the night of the case. The criminal organization initially took you away because they wanted to investigate why Remus died, correct?
네.
Yes.
사건 당일 밤 이충재가 분신 자살을 시도하기 전에 만난 적이 있거든요.
That's because I had met Remus the night that before he set himself on
얼마
fire.
전 언론에서 폭로한 암시장 약물 사건에 대해 알고 계세요?
Do you know about the black market medication that the media exposed? With Roman staring intently at the two of them, Rosa and Marius share a wry glance. Forget about hearing about it. It's more like we were involved in the entire process of solving the case.
그 사건 때문에 조직은 이충재에게 수중의 메스칼린을 폐기하고 당분간 몸을 살이라는 명령을 내렸어요.
The organization told Remus to get rid of the mescaline because of that case, and he said he should lie low for a
폐기
bit.
작업은 착오가 생기면 안 되는 일인데 이충재는 요 몇 년 동안 정신 상태가 불안정했거든요.
That shouldn't have been a problem, but Remus has been emotionally unstable in recent years.
이유는 잘 모르겠지만
I don't know the reason.
이충재는 금지 약물의 제작과 판매에 참여한 일을 후회하는 것 같았어요.
It seemed like he was
보복당할까 봐
regretting
두려워하기도 했죠.
what he was doing in making and selling illegal drugs, and he feared retribution. So I guess in the end, he was starting, because the Remus that we heard about from Gerard, like I said, did sound like such a nice guy. So it was very strange. But I guess that was the more recent occurrence. Okay.
后悔
Regret.
可以再说的具体一点吗？
Can you talk more about it?
자기가 잘못했다고 지금까지 나쁜 짓을 저질러 왔다면서 언젠간 누군가가 대가를 받으러 찾아올 거라고 했어요.
He said he was in the wrong and had done terrible things, that people would come after him sooner or later.
경찰일 수도 이충재한테서 약을 구매했던 사람일 수도 있겠죠.
By people, he probably meant the police, but he also maybe meant those who had brought the drugs from him.
정신 안정을 위해 많은 방법을 시도했었는데
He tried many things to calm
아이러니한
himself
건
down.
메스칼린을 복용하는 게 가장 효과적이었어요.
But the irony was that mescaline was the most effective.
약을 복용하면 환각을 볼 수 있어서 어떤 심리적 부담도 없이 모든 고통을 잊을 수 있거든요.
That's because people will have all sorts of hallucinations when they take it, and they forget about everything that hurts them without feeling any sort of guilt. Are you saying that he took mescaline regularly? Roman doesn't deny it. He closes his eyes and nods. The medical examiner already did the toxicology analysis on Remus's body and confirmed he ingested large amounts of the illegal drug before he died. If he has a history of taking the drug, there's a chance he took it on the night of the incident or even overdosed.
그날 밤도 그랬어요.
That night he
금지
was
약물을
like that.
폐기하는 김에 죽어버리는 게 낫겠다느니 헛소리를 했죠.
He kept saying nonsense like he might as well die while he's getting rid of the drugs.
전에도 그렇게 말한 적이 몇 번 있긴 한데 실제로 행동에 옮긴 적은 없었거든요.
He'd said that before, but he'd never done anything like it.
그래서 평소처럼 조직원들한테 이충재를 진정시켜달라고 부탁했어요.
So I went to get the people from the organization to calm him down like I used to.
그런데 제 말을 믿기는커녕 제가 적반하장으로 나온다면서 절 끌고 가더라고요. 그 뒤로는 다들 아시겠죠?
Not only did the organization refuse to believe me, they thought I was also trying to betray them, so they dragged me off. And you know what happened after that. Are you saying you were taken away before even seeing Remus setting himself on fire?
맞아요.
That's right. He's saying he has an alibi? As there are indeed no traces that place him at the scene of the crime, she can't really press the question further and decides to finish this chain of questioning. This isn't the first time Remus made her sold the drug. If he was feeling guilty, why did he pick now to confess? Confessions carry a certain kind of danger and delusion with them. Fundamentally, they are acts of self-reflection. However, if someone keeps expressing their feelings of remorse to others, then there's a real possibility the confessor is just putting on a show, or even using this action to reduce their own responsibility in the matter. Sounds like someone. Sounds like someone. Sorry. Roman is evidently confused about this as well and shakes his head
저도 모르겠어요.
blankly. I don't know
언젠간
either.
다가올 처벌이 두려워서일 수도 있고 단순히 나이를 들어서일지도 모르죠.
Maybe because he was afraid that something was coming for him, or maybe he was just getting old.
드문 일은 아니잖아요. 전에 읽은 책에서
It shouldn't be that uncommon, right? I read a book that said
사람들,
people,
심지어 악당들조차 우리가
even
생각하는
villains,
것보다 훨씬 유치하고 순수할 수 있다라고 쓰여 있었어요.
are far more naive and simple-hearted than one assumes.
이충재도 그런 게 아닐까요?
Maybe that's how it was with him.
原来你还读过卡拉马佐夫兄弟啊？
So you've read the brothers Karamazov, huh?
그냥 시간 때우려고 읽은 것뿐이에요.
Just to pass the time. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm getting weird vibes. I'm getting weird vibes from him. He's starting to feel a little suspicious to me now, too.
예전에 이충재가 이웃들에게 약을 팔았다고 했는데 만약 어느 날 그 사람들이 혹은 그 사람들의 자식들이 복수하러 찾아왔다면요?
I remember Remus said that since he sold the drugs to his neighbors, what would happen if those people or their kids decided to take revenge on him one day?
만약 그때 속죄했다면 적어도 살 기회는 있었겠죠. 운이 좋으면 감형받았을지도 모르고요.
Then he might have a chance to live if he acted as the police informant. And he might even have gotten a lighter... And with luck, he might have gotten a lighter
조직에서
sentence.
이상한 점을 눈치챘고 이충재는 좀 더 은밀한 방식을 선택했어요.
But people in the organization soon noticed something was off, so he shifted to a more subtle method.
택배 센터를 조사하다가 혹시 금고 못 보셨어요?
I don't-
찾아도 열 방법은 없으셨겠지만
I don't know whether you found it safe when you searched the courier station, but you might not have even been able to open it. Actually, that safe broke on its own. We found some delivery sheets with fake addresses in them. But those were cover-up for selling the illegal drugs, right? Or sending. Roman actually appears relieved when he hears about what happened to the safe.
다들 속으셨군요. 이게 고정관념이라는 걸까요?
Sounds like you got tricked too. Is that what you thought it was?
이충재는 일부러 가짜 송장을 준비해서 다른 사람들이 송장이 금지 약물을 위해 준비한 물건이라고 착각하게 만들었어요.
Oh! Remus prepared those fake sheets so people would think it was all for the illegal drugs.
이충재는 매번 뒷면에 거래 정보를 적어뒀어요. 암호화된 정보긴 하지만 경찰에서 해독하려 한다면 어렵진 않을 거예요.
In reality, he wrote down the info related to every transaction on the back. He encrypted it. But I don't imagine the police will have a hard time deciphering it.
계획대로라면 이충재는 언제든지 경찰의 스파이가 되어 감형 기회를 노릴 수 있었을 거예요.
His original plan was probably to use that to become a police informant and seek a shorter sentence. Roman's correction to her inference hints at one thing. Remus didn't have a reason to kill himself, at least for now. Yeah, that is weird. After all, how could he get a lesser sentence by becoming a police informant if he died? But if he didn't want to kill himself, then why did he do all those things in the delivery courier station? Or, even though the criminal organization didn't want him dead, did some other party want him to commit suicide? I remember Gerard saying he knew it at the Kane brothers. Let me ask him. Roman, do you know someone by the name of Gerard Boone?
그게 누구죠?
Who's that? Huh? He feels a sudden spurt of unease and quickly follows up with another question. His family used to come to the delivery courier station, and Remus helped them by lending them some money. There's even a loan certification with his parents' names. Does that ring a bell? On the night Remus killed himself, Gerard saw the courier station on the fire like the other residents in the vicinity, so he called the police.
죄송해요.
I'm sorry.
이충재가 돈을 빌려준 사람이 한둘이 아니라서요. 모든 사람을 다 기억할 순 없잖아요.
Remus lent money to more than just one family. I couldn't possibly remember every one of their family situations. Roman smiles rather apologetically. His sincerity doesn't look fake at all. They really are so familiar, then they probably won't forget each other.
친한 건 아니지만 경찰한테서 그 아이가 한동안 정처 없이 떠돌았고 지금은 두 분의 보호를 받고 있다고 들었어요.
I might not be familiar with him, but I did hear from the police that he spent some time drifting from one place to another, and now he's under your protection. Roman mutters to himself, saying everything he knows out loud as if he's trying to sort out his thoughts.
그게 사실이라면
If that's
경찰에
true,
신고해줘서 고맙다고 전해주실래요?
can you please thank him for for reporting this to the police?
저도 어릴 때 떠돌이 생활을 한 적이 있거든요. 저보다 훨씬 용감한 아이네요.
I spent some time on the streets as well when I was younger, but he's a lot braver than me. However, she's too distracted to respond to him. Her brain is whirring at max capacity. Is Gerard pretending to know the Kane brothers? But why would he do that? No. This is weird. Something is sus about Remus. Roman. Something is still sus. Okay. The session concludes with an almost unbearable silence. Seeing that her brow is furrowed tightly, Roman tentatively offers some consolation after some
참.
thought.
다른 궁금한 점이 있다면 얼마든지 대답.
If there's anything else that you're curious about, you can ask me any... Huh? His pants pocket starts to vibrate at that moment. Roman soon pushes out a phone with an extremely cracked screen and pulls it to his ear. His phone was once confiscated by the criminals while he was confined. The police checked the contents of his phone when he was rescued and returned the device to him when nothing suspicious was found in it.
怎么了吗？
What's the matter?
모르는 번호예요.
An unknown
장난
number.
전화인가 봐요.
Maybe a prank caller.
전에 택배 센터에서 일하느라 업무용 번호를 사용했거든요. 종종 이상한 사람들이 전화를 걸어와요.
This is my work number. I used to work at the delivery address, so I always have weird people calling.
万一真是快递站的某个客人呢？错过了，可就误事了。
What if it's a delivery depot customer? You wouldn't want to miss that. She almost immediately realizes that Marius doesn't trust Roman. Yeah! Roman doesn't retort, however. He lifts the phone to his ear again, as per Marius' suggestion.
말을 안 하네요.
No one's talking.
장난 전화가 다 그렇죠, 뭐.
All prank calls are like this, though, I guess.
真的没人。
Really?
네.
Yeah.
안 믿기면 직접 들어보세요.
If you don't believe me, you can listen to it yourself. There is indeed no one on the other end. The two of them can't really say anything and only watch as Roman hangs up. However, Marius continues to watch Roman walk off, even after Roman leaves the police station and completely disappears into the crowd.
你也注意到异常了。
You noticed something weird too, didn't you? Yes! Yes! That was weird. Yeah, regardless of what Roman says, Gerard's testimony is getting more and more confusing. He claimed his family was on the familiar terms with the Kane brothers, but judging from Roman's reaction, that wasn't the case. If we look back on Gerard's testimony at this point, it's more like he was making up a reason for him to be at the delivery depot.
那接下来还要再去找他吗？还是
Then would you bother going back to see Gerard anymore, or... Marius looks at her, but she is distracted by how her phone screen suddenly lights up. Marius, do you want to head back to the firm without me first? She raises her phone hesitantly to show him Artem's message on it. The content does feel very much like Artem. Got back early from the business trip. Want to know about your progress.
提前回来？
Got back
他
early.
还真是争分夺秒。
He's certainly putting every minute to good use.
我送你回去吧。
I'll drive you back.
不过趁你和左然同步案情的时候，我想再去找一趟余粮。
However, while you're informing Artem of our progress, I want to go see Gerard again. Oh my goodness. Marius drives away once he drops her off at the legal firm. According to him, splitting up would increase their efficiency. He's keen to face the challenge head-on and wants to try negotiating with Gerard on his own. Considering Gerard's ever-shifting attitude towards Marius, the best she can do is wish him good luck. Artem said he's back, but he doesn't seem to be in his office. She went around the door of his office a few minutes ago, but only saw the briefcase he had left on the table through the glass. Therefore, she turns back and continues to look at his familiar figure.
선배, 여긴 어쩐 일이에요? 이번 주 휴가 냈잖아요.
Sunbae, what are you doing here? Aren't you on vacation this week? This week? I just came back for a bit because Mr. Wing asked me to. We've got a bit of a work emergency.
급한 일이요? 백 변호사님은
Emergency.
지금 사무실에 안 계시는데요.
But he's not in his office right now.
아휴, 일단 그건 나중에 얘기하죠.
Tell him about it later. Come over and vote with us. As the partners are away, the junior attorneys, including Kiki, are all relaxing in the pantry. Kiki parts the crowd and leads her to a phone that is propped up on the table. What's this, a live stream?
이거 몰라요?
You don't know?
요즘 완전 유명한 사이버 고해성 사실이잖아요.
It's a super popular cyber confession booth.
자주 뜨더라고요.
It keeps getting onto the front page these days. On the screen, with rolling comments constantly flying across it, a streamer seems to be focused on listening to an audience member's words, then blinks in confusion with their eyes with. I don't quite understand. What kind of confession booth is this?
쉽게 말해서 스트리머가 무작위로 피해자, 아니 행운의 시청자를 추첨해서 인생에서 가장 후회되는 일이 뭐냐고 물어봐요.
She really does say victim. Basically, the streamer randomly selects a victim, I mean a lucky audience member, and gets them to say the thing they regret most in their life.
그 시청자가 사연을 이야기하면 다른 시청자들은 그 사람이 용서받을 만한 가치가 있는지 투표하게 돼요.
After that person tells their story, the rest of the audience can vote on whether they deserve to be forgiven. Oh my god. But this doesn't seem to work like how Kiki said. She gets a basic idea of how the stream works after watching for a few minutes. As the stream is classified in the entertainment category, the content provided by the audience mostly consists of outlandish stories that are a far cry from real-life confessions.
그럼 기왕 왔으니 선배도 투표해 볼래요?
Well, now that you're here, do you want to try voting? But I only started watching halfway through, even if you ask me. She looks around as she tries to find someone to help her out, and soon notices someone next to the coffee machine who keeps looking in her direction. However, rather than staring at her, it's more accurate to say a certain someone doesn't know how to mix with his subordinates and is quietly looking over with the coffee machine as his cover. Artem is so cute. Artem is so cute. Mr. Wing? Let me take a look. How strange. Let me take another look. If she were to put Artem's current actions into words, the above would have sufficed. She chuckles to herself and walks over quickly to him.
당신이었군요.
Oh, it's you.
내내 찾다가 탕비실에 한번 와봤어요.
I was looking for you, so I came to the pantry.
정보를 어느 정도 알고 있긴 한데
I've already heard something,
당신의 생각을 알고 싶어서요.
but I want to hear your thoughts. Artem manages to immediately adjust himself and greets her as if he just saw her. She can't help but respect his reaction speed. After she briefly informs Artem of her progress. She deliberately brings up how Gerard is appearing more and more strange. What do you think, Mr. Wing? Is there some secret Gerard can't tell us? Artem shakes his head at first. He places one hand on the smooth tabletop, casting a shadow in the light. Following his gesture, she looks at the table and sees the fuzzy reflections of her and him on the surface. She looks flustered and exasperated from days of intense work. Okay, that sentence is alright, whatever. While Artem looks particularly calm, as if waiting for her to relax a bit.
제 생각엔 사건을 더 깊이 파헤치려고 애쓰기보단 잠시 멈춰서 스스로에게 질문을 던져보는 것도 좋을 것 같아요.
I think you should pause and ask yourself a question instead of using every waking second to find out the truth about this case.
이번 사건의 사망자를 예로 들죠.
Take the deceased in this case for an example.
이충재처럼 중죄를 저지른 사람이 잘못을 깨닫고 진심으로 뉘우친다면 당신은 용서할 수 있을 것 같나요?
If someone like Remus Kane, who committed serious crime, told you he realized he was wrong, that he's sorry, is genuinely willing to change himself, could you forgive him? She vaguely feels that he is hinting at something else and looks with him at the crowd not too far away. Dude, Roman is involved in Remus's death for sure. It might have been resentment. Couldn't really blame him for it though, to be honest. The attorneys have just had a discussion and the person confessing in the cyber confession booth has already been judged. Kane did indeed commit unpardonable crimes, there's no getting out of that. But how can we define the act of confessing to something? As soon as an action is conducted before an audience, it would inevitably be affected by the judgment passed by this audience. The outcome of the judgment might be varied and influenced by each audience member's stance. It cannot even be decided by a vote. You'd be lucky if it didn't devolve into a fight. And what kind of parameters can we use to decide whether he's genuinely sorry? Right?
어떻게 판단해야 할지 막막한 상황에서 의문이 생기는 건 누구나 할 수 있는 생각이에요.
Anyone would naturally wonder about the uncertainties about whether or not one is truly sorry. Artem puts his coffee cup aside, and only then does she notice that the inside of the cup is extremely clean. Rather than Artem happening to see her when he came to get a cup of coffee, it's more accurate to say that he has been silently observing her from the start. Only after she'd seen the so-called cyber confession booth with her own eyes could the dialogue he wanted to have with her be established.
사람마다 보는 세상이 다르니까요.
Everyone sees the world differently.
용서하든 하지 않든
The
충분히 이해할 수 있죠.
decision to forgive is not as relatable as any decision not to.
오히려 모두가 주관적인 답변만 내놓기 때문에 제가 던진 질문엔 정답이 없다고 하는 게 정확할 거예요.
And the question that I pose has no standard answer because each person can only give their own response. But there are really no immutable standards to decide something like that. She whispers, unwilling to give up.
그건 나중에 다시 생각해도 안 늦어요.
Let's think about that later.
그것보다 더 중요한 일이 있어요.
There's something more important right now.
우태양은 어떤가요?
How is Utaehan these days?
거의 본 적이 없는 것 같아서요.
I've hardly seen him.
괜찮다면 우태양의 상황을 직접 살펴보고 싶네요.
If we can, I'm interested in seeing how he's doing. And let's head over to see him together. Marius should be with Gerard right now too. Let me ask him. He's only typed a few letters in the chat box when a call from Marius pops up on her phone. Marius, what a coincidence. I was just about to call you. I'm at the firm with Mr. Wing right now, and we'd like to head over together.
小声点。
Be quiet. Marius replies so fast that she has to swallow the rest of her words. Artem looks at her in confusion, so she switches the call to speaker mode to allow him to join the conversation too.
이야기는 다 들었어요.
I heard everything.
우태양이 묵고 있는 호텔에 있다면서요.
You're in the hotel that
왜
Gerard's
목소리를
staying
낮춰야 하는
in.
거죠?
Why are you whispering?
我是在这里没错，你们中能过来一个人帮忙吗？
I am at the hotel, but can one of you come over to help? Did something happen?
就是刚才，我还没进房间呢，突然有警察联系我，问我余良怎么样了。
Just a few minutes ago, I didn't even get to go into the room when a police officer contacted me to ask how Gerard was
他
doing.
们告诉我，案发当晚接待余良的那位民警又找到办案组，
They told me
想起了一件事。
the officer who saw Gerard on the night of the case contacted the investigators again and said he remembered something.
余良来报警的时候，身上有一股很大的汽油味儿。
Apparently, when Gerard came to file the report, he smelled very strongly of gasoline. Oh, no. I was very suspicious of Roman because, well, just he was very sus. But now, because of this conversation with Artem, say somebody confessed to you about something, would you be able to forgive them? What if, while he was around, or what if he came there on purpose? What if he heard Remus's confessions to Roman? What if he knew? Okay. So I have a theory. We'll see if I'm right. What if Gerard found out that he had been selling these drugs to his family, right? And effing them up. And so Gerard got angry, obviously, and tried to kill him, and did kill him, and forced him to ingest the thing. And one of his alibis or covers was that IOU. And that's why the IOU wasn't signed by his parents or anything, right? It was, given what Roman said about Remus, he wasn't completely a nice person, or so generous to the point that he would, do something like that. So maybe that was all a lie. Oh. Oof. Gasoline? I vaguely remember that. When she first brought Gerard into the hotel suite, she does recall a faint scent of gasoline on him. However, given he admitted to picking the lock to enter the delivery depot, she didn't pay much attention to it at this
那个
time.
民警闻到的汽油味儿比我们闻到的要刺鼻得多，所以他越想越觉得不对劲。
The gasoline odor the officer smelled was way stronger than the scent we did. So the more he thought about it, the stranger he
如
felt.
果单纯只是在快递站后门待了一会儿跑了，是不会发生这种情况的吧？
If Gerard just hung out next to the delivery depot's back door for a while before running away, it wouldn't lead to such a strong smell on him, would it?
所以警方决定今天晚点来酒店接余良回派出所，再问他一次。而这次有个问题。
The police decided to come to the hotel later today and bring Gerard back to the station for another round of questioning. There's a problem, though.
他们没说什么时候放余良回来。
They didn't say when they'll let Gerard come back. Oh dear. Are you worried they'll take Gerard away for good? Then she quickly looks at the time displayed on her phone. It's almost evening already. If the police plan to take Gerard away today, then the time he left the hotel is already counting down.
일단 경찰한테 다시 한번 확인해 볼게요.
I'll go check with the police first.
당신이랑 유신우 씨는 우태양이랑 같이 계세요.
You two stay with Gerard.
최악의 경우로 우태양이 용의자로 체포돼도 우리는 상황을 알 권리가 있으니까요.
Even if the worst happens and Gerard gets arrested as a suspect, we have the right to know about the situation.
那我就先稳住他。
I'll calm him down first.
毕竟我们这位当事人脾气那么怪，如果意识到自己要回警局了，谁知会是什么反应？
That's why he's whispering. After all, our client has such a weird temper. If he realizes he's going back to the police station, who knows how he'll react. We do have a trial coming up in this card. I wonder if the trial will be for Gerard. Oh my. We're like halfway through. So I'm gonna see later, I guess, if my theory is correct. Because yeah, I think this is gonna take too long. We're already at like quite a bit. So, oh man, though, Gerard is in trouble. Oh, I hope I remember my theory for later.